Are you high, bro? You scoundrel. Well, me too, actually. And you've come to the perfect place, because the videos you're about to watch mix perfectly with a high mind, and might even make you feel more high. Anyway, let's get right into it with the 5 levels of being high. Now, I bet you've seen a couple videos on this topic, maybe even mine, but since almost a year has passed and my knowledge and understanding of the magic green plant has grown tremendously, I thought it's about time to make the ultimate, definitive, most precise levels of high tier list on planet Earth. And to make it even more fun, for every level, I'ma be getting more high to give an accurate representation of what the level feels and sounds like. So let's get it started with level 1. Microdosed. This is the level where you don't really feel anything per se, but you can tell something is different. You have a slight mood boost and your body might feel a bit more elevated. So like if your legs were sore, they're probably even more sore now, but if you're lying on your bed, well, its comfortability is probably up about by 10 to 15%. Nothing crazy, but it is noticeable. This, however, isn't enough to give you the giggles. So that Amy Schumer comedy special will still leave you wondering if my vagina is actually comedy or just poorly done slapstick humor. And since I'm currently at this level, I can tell you it also has no negative side effects, so I can still do everything without worrying if I'm too high. Anyway, let's move on to the first exciting level, and that is level 2. I'm feeling it. So you're feeling it, eh? Well, me too. This is the level where that Amy Schumer special might actually forcefully steal a giggle or two from you, but not because it's actually funny, it's more like you're laughing at her rather than with her. Anyway, since you're now feeling it, you also might be feeling that movie a bit more, or that video game. Shit, you might be feeling your own jokes a bit more. Got you laughing at your own thoughts, fool. This is also the optimal high if you still got stuff to do. Well, to be honest, if you got stuff to do, probably better to not be high, but at this level, it's still definitely doable, just a bit more difficult. Another way to look at it is, this is the high the workers at Subway are usually on, although I have seen mofos way beyond this there too, but for the most part, this is optimal cause the loud hasn't got you moving slow-mo quite yet. As for me, I'm still able to read this script and pronounce my words just fine, so you probably can't even tell I'm high right now. But now it's time to get to the first level where a mofo can feel too high if he's not experienced, and for that, I gotta use my Glebe. The Glebe is a discrete portable glass gravity BONG that I've been using for a while now, and if you've ever tried a grav bomb before, you know it smacks the fuck out of you with barely any bud. It also just looks like a water bottle, so you can carry it around in public and no one will suspect a thing, bruh. Not the cops, not your parents, literally no one. Click the link in the pinned comment to check it out and use code ItsCbdBro for 15% off. But now it's time for level 3. Yeah, I'm pretty high. So here we are, pretty high. This is the point where, at least for me, doing anything besides leisurely activities is hard. Not impossible, nor undoable, but hard. If we take that Amy Schumer comedy special for reference again, as for some reason I like doing, it might just maybe have become funny, but you also realize you just high, so you turn it off and watch something else. Also, this is the first level where some thoughts might have become uncontrollable in the senses you just can't help but dive deeper into the fact that the bomb dropped on Hiroshima was almost 1,600 times less powerful than the Tsar bomb created and detonated by the Soviets in 1961 as a show of power to the US. But then you find out there's something called an antimatter bomb which could be even more destructive, but it's only a theory, but then maybe the US is developing it in Area 51 or something. Yeah, I think you get the point. But there is one sensation that is more powerful than your random thoughts, and that of course is the munchies. Coupled with the fact you're probably rocking some dry mouth right now, this in my opinion is the best level to be at if you're trying to stuff your face with enough trans fats to feed 50 hungry children. But you know, you already ate it also. Anyway, moving on to level 4. Faded beyond belief. This is the point where if you're not in a safe space, you kinda screwed. Well, not always, but at this level, it's become almost impossible to practice rational thinking. I mean, if you were diving deeper into that nuclear bomb stuff at the previous level, then this is a point where you might start actually believing you are Oppenheimer himself. This stage is really not the best if you're looking to focus on a movie or video game or really anything because, well, your attention span is at the mercy of the za, and to actually enjoy this high, you just gotta go with the flow. As for me, it's getting pretty hard to read the script. If I look at the words for long enough, they kinda look like some ancient Chinese hieroglyphs. But anyway, if you're an actual lunatic, maniac, psychopath, Zaza destroyer, and considering hitting that gravity one more time, then be prepared for level 5. Shadow Realm. I told you, bro, you gotta be a maniac to get to this level because the plane of existence you on now is so different from being non-high. You probably feeling and looking like a goddamn alien. I mean, bro, your eyes are so red and you feel so disconnected from your body that if you look in the mirror, you'll probably think, bro, is that really me? I'm so fucked up. Wait. Ah, shit, I'm in the Shadow Realm again, aren't I? And now that you realize you're in the Shadow Realm, you either stop the trip by going to sleep or level unknown, exploring the Shadow Realm. This level doesn't require smoking more. All it really requires you to do is just go outside and explore the world that in many ways has become the upside down from Stranger Things. Cause at this level, rational thinking has been completely thrown out the window and your brain has reverted to factory settings as of when you were just born. So if you see a streetlight flickering, for example, if you were normal, you just think, they really should fix that. Compared to now, oh shit, bro, this is totally one of those slasher scenes where once I walk over the streetlight, he's gonna shift me up, isn't he? Nah, man, fuck this, I'm out of here. At least, I don't know, that's how it feels to me when I achieve the pinnacle of high and am wandering the world outside. But now, guys, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go to sleep, cause saying words in my mouth is fucking hard. Wake and bake. One who does not understand the true implications of this act may find himself overwhelmed by its powers. Yet this holy practice has a special place in every stoner's heart, for it can only be truly enjoyed if one forfeits his entire life energy and hopes to receive the blessing of the Za gods. For if one does not concede to the Za, die will be consumed by it. I have witnessed one too many proud, ignorant soldiers underestimate the wake and bake and end up overwhelmed by its mighty force. But if you're confused by my holy transcript, I'll put it in terms you might understand better. It's not a wake and bake if you don't fucking wake up. Dudes be out here talking about, ooh, I love waking and baking. It makes my whole day so much less stressful. Yeah, of course it does, you dinglebob, if all you do after is watch TikTok, order Uber Eats, fill your belly to the brim, and take a 3-hour nap. But some mofos still disrespect the holy practice by literally doing nothing with the extravagant mega high of the wake and bake. And yes, no matter what science says, I'm here to tell you getting high as soon as you wake up is a lot stronger and different than getting high, let's say, in the evening. And my theory is that right after waking up, your body and brain are not functioning at full capacity yet and are weak against foreign substance attacks like THC. So when you inhale that beautiful Mary Jane right after waking up, your body's defense systems are down, leading to more of the THC slipping through to your brain, therefore getting suited as fuck. And since the Za ain't nothing but an amplifier of your senses, feelings, and thoughts, since waking up is hard to begin with, cause I don't know about you, but I personally gotta recite every damn inspirational Rocky Balboa quote to muster up the strength to get up in the morning. If you're high, that shit is like 10 times harder. And that's proven by most of these mofos who claim they like waking and baking. Dudes get high and just stare at the wall and watch the day go by. Like, there really are levels to this shit. And since your boy waked and baked every single day for a whole summer, I have gone through all of them and am qualified to tell you it starts at level 1. The couch potato. This is the state you're probably gonna be in for the first couple times you get high right in the morning. And it ain't nothing to be ashamed of, because those first times are like a learning experience. Once the baking is planned, when you go to sleep, it'll have you all excited like, oh boy, can't wait to get high as soon as I wake up and go on an adventure. But when the time comes and you smoke that exotic, you soon realize that this shit hits different. Not only are you baked out of your mind, you also feel like your eyelids have 10-pound weights on them. But even so, you will try your best to go on that high adventure you have been hyping up. But unfortunately, the most you can do is gather the strength to go to the kitchen and make a sandwich. Which after, you'll probably take that right back to your room, put on some Netflix or some, watch it for a couple minutes and realize, I'm not leaving this bed anytime soon, am I? And boom, you either fall asleep or lie in your bed watching Netflix like the potato you are for the whole high. But if you're like me and don't accept that as a successful and fun wake and bake, you'll do it again some other day, and this time you're better educated on the powers of the morning Za, which will lead you to level 2. I will persevere. This time, you know what to expect and have mentally prepared for the tiredness and overall lack of motivation to do stuff by the wake and bake. So just like before, you decide to try the holy practice, but this time decide to brush your teeth and maybe take a shower before the bake. Just cause you know one of the hardest parts about getting up in the morning is the fact you can't just stand up and start your day. You gotta do your morning routine first. After all that, you're finally ready to hit your BONG. Anyway, now that you've completed the wake and bake and were smart enough to do a bit of your morning routine first, the 10-pound weights that were attached to your eyelids previously have now lightened up to about 4-pound weights. And although every fiber of your being is still telling you to go lie down, you fight through and attempt to start your day with something lightly productive, like going to the store or cleaning your room. And if you do end up going to the store like I did, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's a trap. Because you will most likely find yourself admiring every food item your eyeballs gaze upon, and we all know when the munchies hit, well, you either rise to the occasion or you have a bad trip. Hey, I'm sorry, I don't make the rules, I just follow them. So you go back home, do your best impression of Nicocado Avocado, and find yourself watching YouTube or Netflix on your wretched bed again. Good try, but not quite the wake and bake epic adventure you were hoping for. But this time, you swear on your mama. Well, better not do that, but anyway, you swear that next time you will have an awesome wake and bake, which will lead you to level 3.
It's not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
You've had enough of this BS. You're done folding to the power of the za and being that 1990s generic movie stoner who smokes grass, plays video games, and eats Doritos all day. So now, you do what you did previously, but instead of going to your local Wonderland 7-Eleven, you instead go to the gym or just do something productive that doesn't involve binge watching the new One Piece Netflix series. But this level is in reality quite subjective. It all depends on what your idea of a successful wake and bake is. For me, I'm happy with my wake and bake if after the high dissipates and reality starts to shape back in, I don't feel all hazy and sad from the fact that I did a wake and bake. This also means sometimes it's okay to hit that Mary Jane immediately after waking and just playing video games the entire time. If you plan a day like that ahead and enter the morning with no desire to do anything but lay on your couch and eat 50% off birthday cakes you got from the discount aisle at Walmart, then that's fine. One of my funnest and favorite high memories came from a wake and bake with Riz X, where immediately after waking, we spontaneously decided to get faded, and after that, we were a bit bored, so we decided to look at how much money we had in our bank balance, and well, things weren't looking too good, but we were able to scrape together $200 and went on Facebook Marketplace to search for fun items for the high mind. And oh boy, we sure did strike gold, because we found this guy selling an Xbox Series S with 2 controllers close to our area, so we pulled up, acquired the box, found a free trial for Xbox Game Pass, and played a bunch of split-screen games and ate McNuggets all goddamn day, which in my book has got to be a successful wake and bake, but it would have been an awful one if we hadn't planned ahead and occupied the day schedule with only 2 things in mind: smoke grass and have fun. But one thing I will say about the holy practice known as the wake and bake is that it's best enjoyed as a special occasion, and that's because them shits absolutely demolish your tolerance, and I speak from experience. We went from a bag lasting 1 week to 1 day and 3 days of waking and baking. Like, I don't know exactly why, but that shit sure isn't sustainable financially nor productivity wise. It also has to do with the fact when you wake and bake, you usually smoke throughout the whole day, but when you smoke up after a long and productive day of grinding, you only do so once or twice before you get tired and go to bed, giving your body ample time to recover from the THC. Think about it like this: if you wake and bake and then smoke throughout the day, that ganja is constantly building up, so your body never really has time to digest that THC through your system. But if you smoke only every 24 hours or so, you're giving your body time to recover and remove the za from your brain, making it so you don't have to smoke a whole spliff just to feel a little bit high. But shit, I'm not a scientist, so all this stuff might be BS, but I don't know, it kinda makes sense, doesn't it? But anyway, if you're trying to get faded with me and other like-minded people, make sure you join the Discord and pull up to the smoke sesh that's happening this Sunday. Hope to see you there, broski. Peace! Ever wonder why some dudes can inhale that freshly cut grass an unholy amount of times with eyes so red you think dude is bleeding internally on some exorcist shit, but when asked, "How you feeling, bro?" they'll respond with something like, or, "Honestly, could go for one more J." Well, the reason for a response like that is due to their grass smoker power. which, contrary to popular belief, isn't all about tolerance. Although that can be an important factor, it isn't everything. So Randy, who's 30 years old and has been on a tea break for 2 years now, but has been consistently inhaling that grass for the entirety of his adult life, will be much less likely to freak out over some stupid shit than, for example, Jimmy here, who's been getting high for 2 months straight every day and claims himself a Za God. The reason for that is, Jimmy, although his tolerance is almost maxed out, still can't handle the fade in a situation even remotely out of his comfort zone. All that being said, we all start off on Level 1.
Bro, I think it was laced.
Level 1, the good old times where the Za was still mysterious and scary. This is the level you're at if you've inhaled that magic spice only a couple times, and only so in the safest, securest, and good vibey situations possible. And honestly, while at this level, you couldn't even imagine doing anything besides eating Doritos and scrolling YouTube shorts whilst blasted, cause you just haven't gotten used to the feeling the green bestows upon you. That being the increase in significance of every thought and action, and because you don't know how to control it, your experiences with weed are mostly in your own head. So when you high, you can't focus on shit. Like really, the only thing that seems to catch your attention for more than 10 seconds is that sweet, sweet flavor on those Sour Patch Kids that you never knew could explode in your mouth like that. Now, depending on if you getting blasted solo or with friends will determine your speed of leveling, cause usually if you with friends, you get used to the Za more quickly because you're socializing. Plus, you know, there's always that one guy in the group that likes to mess with the newbies by getting them as high as possible and then being like, hey guys, let's go to the gas station. Which might seem whatever, but if it's your first time, you might just have a damn panic attack at that 7-Eleven. Cause I swear, everybody is looking at you, and the cashier, he's onto you. Yeah, f that guy. Anyway, if you keep on eating grass, you'll move on to Level 2. I am the Zaza God. Remember Jimmy, the self-proclaimed Zaza God? Yeah, well, he ain't quite the Za God he believes himself to be. To be honest, he barely a Za foot soldier. Cause it's all good and fine if he gets blasted up to Mars in the comfort of his own home, but take that comfort away and you'll most likely find him walking behind the group on his own looking like a lost puppy. And the reason for that is, my man's thought that he's been high so many times he can be high anywhere, which sadly isn't the case. Think of tolerance as the size of your dick. It can be massive, destructive in nature, and uncontrollably powerful. But what does that matter if all you use it for is to jerk off? Same with tolerance, it's situational, so you can be unfazed by the Za in the comfort of your own home, but as soon as that comfort is taken away, you a total noob again. Instead of focusing on the size of his T, Jimmy should have been focusing on upping his riz and going out and pulling some quality baddies, if you get what I mean. I'd say going from this level to the next is one of the biggest steps in between levels, cause to confidently say you a Za God, you should be able to keep your cool in most public situations, even if everybody is staring at you and every car with a hint of blue is a FBI agent ready to take you away for good. You gotta be chill, like a cucumber. And if you do study the cucumber enough while spugging off the broccoli, you might just advance to Level 3, Transformer Optimus Prime. This level is called Transformer because it's the level where your Zaza adventures completely transform. Instead of only smoking up at the comfort of you or your friend's home, you can now make plans in somewhat chill public areas like fast food places, cinemas, the park, the spa, or really anywhere where you know people will most likely be minding their own business. And because of this newfound power, you probably have also started blazing that green more, which depending on the type of person you are, it could start affecting your everyday tasks and goals negatively because although hard to admit, the Zaza can and will make you a lazy mofo if you let it. But as I said, it all depends on the shape of your character, so if you can control the inherent laziness the Za tries to curse you with and still keep on rolling with your goals without becoming a Dorito munching World of Warcraft playing stay-at-home hobgoblin, at some point you'll move on to Level 4. Yeah, to be honest, I'm high right now. Welcome to the ultimate purgatory and struggle of a consistent Za enjoyer. As I said before, you only advance to this level if you didn't become a Star Wars lore arguing Prime Dumbledore admiring League of Legends playing high stay-at-home goblin. Wait, why are you Star Wars lore all the time? And I love Dumbledore. Well, at least I don't play League of Legends. Anyway, as I was saying, it's quite hard to make it to this level, and even harder to stay here, because nowadays you are so used to doing stuff while blasted, you could theoretically be in that state 24/7. But the problem is, you also know being high 24/7 is expensive. Plus, even if you don't notice, I'd say for 95% of people, it makes them less productive as well. So that's why I call it purgatory, because you're constantly pondering the question, should I maybe do a quick hit before doing this? And although I'd love to say I have the answer to that question, I don't. It all depends on you and your situation. So for example, if I had a job interview, I wouldn't do a quick hit. But then again, I know dudes who say the za makes them less nervous and stressed, plus more talkative. So for those people, I'd have to say, go ahead I guess. But if one day you find a definitive answer to the question, should I maybe do a quick grip before this? You'll move on to the final and most elusive level there is. Level 5. Za God. You have entered into your own subconscious, and from it dug out answers to humanity's biggest questions like, are we alone? Why are we here? Why is an 80-year-old man running for president again? And of course, should I bang that Benjamin a little bit before heading out? And I am sorry to inform you guys that I do not know much of this level because I have yet to make it this far myself, and I still have no idea why Joe Biden is running for president again. But I can tell you this much. This is the level that completely transcends tolerance, as you really don't even need to worry about that anymore, cause you know your body to the point you always know what amount is the right amount. Also, you have figured out the perfect formula for working hard and following your dreams, whilst also inhaling that za and being a chill and interesting dude, not just some corporate. If you've ever bought from a plug, you probably know about that teeny tiny voice in your head that goes, what if it's laced, bro? And although 99% of the time, that's just you being paranoid, the other 1%, it might be warranted. Which brings me to the time I was dead certain the grass I bought was laced. But you know, I still smoked it. The day started like any other. I woke up, ate my Captain Crunch, worked out, made some videos, and now after a productive day, was looking for some za to smoke up and watch some Elon Musk vs Zuckerberg fight breakdown videos. Personally, I got the Reptile King on this one. Anyway, the bad news was, I was out of grass. And even worse, the plug I usually buy from wasn't answering, so I had to get creative. First, I tried to scrounge up a hit from smacking the shit out of my grinders and using a card to move it together like I was about to do a line in the back of the nightclub. But alas, after all my effort, I was left with only a smidgen of a hit that was 50% dust and dirt, so although I really didn't want to do it, I knew I had to start asking around for a new plug. And so I did. And after about 30 minutes, I was given the Snapchat of a seemingly high-level devious criminal, and I concluded that by his Snapchat username, which was free straight money emojis, and I'm guessing he chose this name just so everyone knew. I am a drug dealer and I make a lot of money. I shot him a message reading, yo, can I get one? Hoping that he would respond unlike all my other plugs, and just a few minutes later, I was blessed by a message reading, yeah, nice. All I needed to do now was ask when and where, which he responded swiftly with an address that was very close. So I hopped in my Urus. Sorry, I have a Lamborghini Urus. Yes, this is a fact. Spread the word, guys. And pulled up on the spot where I was expecting to greet a killer tattoo. Nah, actually, I'm too experienced now. I knew it was gonna be some high school kid. They're the ones who always use emojis for their plug Snapchats. And it was exactly what I thought. A scrawny looking kid with glasses pulled up, dropped the bag in my car, and dipped. Well, I also gave him the money, but nothing really different or alarming had happened during this altercation. As I was driving back home, though, I took a quick little sniffington from the bag, and well, that shit was smelling a bit sus. I can't quite describe the smell cause it did stank like good za. There was just a certain chemically fragrance to it as well, but regardless, I brought that za home, and before I smoked, I did a bit of googling. How to know if your grass is laced? You can tell if your bud is laced by putting it in water and seeing if anything melts out of it. Bruh, ain't no way I'm putting this grass in some goddamn water. Ah, fuck, it seems good to me. So yeah, I didn't really practice a lot of precaution. I mean, worst case scenario, I accidentally smoked crack. But anyway, I loaded up the hit and took a smack dabbly do off that thing. And at first, I couldn't really tell nothing was wrong. I mean, I was on the couch feeling like a medium rare filet mignon, but that's just being baked. Until I suddenly started getting real paranoid for no reason. Like, not paranoid in what if it was laced, but paranoid in... Hey, what the fuck was that?
Hello? I'll have you know I'm a certified demon hunting boxing champion, bruh. I'll knock your nun ass out in an instant. Oh, hell nah. And yeah, you saw correctly. This got a grown-ass 6'6" athletic specimen of a man to go under his blanket cause he thought he heard a monster, bruh. And I swear, for the entirety of the night, I was low-key hearing things like I was an inmate in Arkham Asylum or something. So, safe to say the whole mellow me out part was negated by the paranoid demon fearing. At some point though, I got a serious case of the munchies, and I knew I had to leave my safe zone, aka my blanky wanky, and go downstairs to raid the fridge. And so I did, but this fucking dimensional rift grass got me bugging out, bro. I was feeling like I was 7 years old again, afraid of the boogeyman coming to take me away. Thankfully, I was able to tweak my way to 2 hood dogs and a couple of sugar sandwiches. Recipes I developed myself. Watch the video in the top corner if you want to know more. But once I got the food on my plate, I ran back upstairs being real careful not to stay in the darkness for too long. Basically, I was this old Vine video. Worst part was though that this so-called laced grass didn't let me sleep either. Like literally, I almost pulled an all-nighter looking like Golem up in my room. Until at 7 AM, I did finally somehow hit the hay. Anyway, this is the only time I ever actually believed grass to be laced, cause it just seems unprofitable to actually do that shit, but I'm still not sure. It might have just been some mighty paranoid demon grass. I guess we'll never know, cause the experience was awful enough for me to flush that shit down the toilet. RIP 0.8 G's, bruh. And obviously, I removed that new plug from my friends list, cause I'm not trying to be the victim of our town's first supervillain, cause if that shit was indeed laced, no way I'm about to go buy some Joker gas from Dollar Store Heath Ledger again. You know, the line between a fun high and a you done high is very thin, and that shit is no joke. Sometimes all it takes is just one extra puff. And that's when I finally realized that dude was not talking about no Coca-Cola to drink.
Wait, but I did buy this weed from him. I wonder if...
No, wait, it can't be. Everybody stop right now. I think we're all smoking crack.
Hey, yo, see, you got any more of that weed you gave me yesterday? Oh, it's really good shit. Yeah, I really liked it. Hey, yo, I see you have some. Hey, yo, give me, I'll give you anything. I'll fucking suck your dick. And that's exactly why you can never trust a plug who also sells that Coca-Cola, if you know what I'm saying. But your weed being laced with a substance that'll change the chemistry of your brain and make the pursuit of your dreams and happiness into the pursuit of concentrated 1900s Coca-Cola and ruin your life forever is the least of your worries when you smoke up with a bunch of sad boys. Now, don't get me wrong, mental health is very important and you should never keep everything inside because your loved ones want to help you. But bro, ever since Juice WRLD dropped Lucid Dreams, motherfuckers will find any reason to be depressed.
I still see your shadows in my room. Can't take back the love that I gave you.
Yo, what's going on with you, bro? Like, you've been acting really sad as of late.
You wouldn't understand. I'm depressed. There's just no point to anything.
Wait, but you weren't depressed 2 days ago. Oh, you're on a sad boy phase.
Sad boy? No! Oh, fuck, I guess I am.
Yeah, bro, how about we go to Salamander's place, get obliterated, and play some Super Smash Bros. Instead of whatever the fuck you're doing here?
Yeah, what am I doing here?
Yeah, let's just get out of here.
1 hour later.
So, Ricky, you still sad? Nah, I'm having a blast. Wait, but you were saying something about, like, someone's shadows you were still seeing in your room?
I don't want to talk about that.
And that's the story of how we were able to stop Ricky from becoming a full-time sad boy, just in the nick of time. But besides almost losing a friend to the song Sad! Exclamation point, there have been 2 extremely scary highs I have gone through. One was instigated by the po-po, man, fuck the police! And the other was from the fear of losing my life. Let me set the scene for you. I'm in high school and I've smoked maybe 3 or 4 times ever, but the last time I did was months ago, so my tolerance was damn near at the level of smelling some grass and getting faded. Anyway, so I had a couple friends who have been asking me relentlessly to get some and get faded because they didn't know any plugs and really wanted to try it. So one weekend I decided to finally fulfill their request and hit up my homie Salamander and acquired the exotic. fuck. The weekend came and we found ourselves in my dorm room, rolling a J, which, well, I had to roll it and it took me a while because my stats were low AF. Basically, I was out there trying to pick an expert level lock with 0 points in perception, dog. After going through 20 papers, the abomination was ready, though. So we went deep into the local park and sparked it. Barely, because that shit had almost 0 airflow. I had to relight the damn thing after every puff. Yet, that was definitely not even close to the worst part, because these motherfuckers were begging me to get the Zon in the first place, were scared shitless to get high, so I ended up smoking like 80% of the J myself, leaving me absolutely zoinked in a group where nobody else wasn't. So you can imagine I was feeling pretty betrayed, and also a bit scared, because if you've ever been obliterated in a group where no one else is, you know that you feel kind of like an alien abandoned by your comrades in a hostile planet, and that feeling was amplified by the fact that these friends of mine were kind of dickheads. Because after puffing down the J, we went to the local gas station to get some munchies, and of course I was fiending for some trans fat, so I asked them if they could go in there and bring me the stuff I wanted, and I'd of course pay them back. Pretty reasonable and easy, right? Being that I was the only one who was blasted and scared of getting caught. I guess fucking not, because these pussios who didn't even inhale the fucking weed told me that they wouldn't bring me anything if I didn't come in. Which, I mean, these days I wouldn't mind, but I was like 17 and it was a Friday night, the prime time for cop patrol, so I had no choice and went in there tweaking out of my mind like...
Oh fuck, this place is full. Shit. Wait, it feels like they're all staring at me. No, I think I'm just high. Okay, let's just get out of here. I'm not gonna order anything. Okay, fine. Go to the corner. Hey, yo, bro, I'm gonna just take some chips and candy, okay? And can you give me the car keys so I can just wait it out in the car while you guys wait for your food? Yeah?
No.
What? Why? I'm not even gonna turn it on, bro.
Cause, bro, I got an announcement to make.
This motherfucker high as... Bro, shut the fuck up! That ain't funny. I'm baked as fuck, you pussy.
Okay, but yeah, you're not getting the keys. So basically, these scumbags just decided to torture me, and because I had to wait for their food anyway, I went to order some too, and as I was doing so, 3 girls from my school approached me at the counter and were like,
yeah, I'll have
Hey, see, I heard you guys smoked some weed, yeah?
Well, no, I'll have the dumplings, yeah. But yeah, we definitely didn't. We're all super duper sober bober.
Yeah, you did. Dwayne said so. You got some left? You can come to our place if you have some. We really want to get faded too. And in that moment, I had to pause and rethink my whole life because I did not in fact have any left because I wasted it all on my rinky-dinky sausage party bum fun enjoying friends. Which if I would have had some left, I could have gone to these girls' crib and smoked up with free hot chicks. But no, I donated all the weed to dumber, and me, the dumbest. And after that realization of alliances, I changed the famous saying, bros before hoes, to bros who aren't hoes before bros. And I live by that to this day. But the scariest part was yet to come, because as I was waiting for my food posted up at the ice cream station, a cop walked in. And that just set my tweak meter to a whole new level. I felt my heart rate spiked to like 200 and I was shaking just begging God for him not to walk towards me, but he fucking did. I avoided eye contact at all costs, but it seemed he had his eyes set on me. He got closer and closer until he was standing right in front of me.
Fuck, why is he here? He knows I'm faded, doesn't he? Oh shit, I'm fucked. I'm going to juvie. This is over. Oh my God, I'm gonna fucking die. Yes, officer? Could you move out of the way, please? I want some ice cream. Yeah, of course. My bad.
Thanks. Nothing better than some good old Ben & Jerry's to complement a sour diesel joint. Shit, fucking fire. Okay, the last part maybe didn't happen, okay? Anyway, the build-up, the weed, the cop, everything combined gave me some of the worst anxiety I've ever had, but the relief when he just wanted some ice cream was equally amazing. I had gotten away from this horrid situation, and once we got our food, we went to a hangout spot where I got really cold and tweaked again. Overall, I'd rate the high a 7 out of 10 just because it was eventful and I got a nice adrenaline dump, but it would have been a damn 9 9.5 if your boy could have gone to the girls' crib and got faded with some hot females instead of my pussy friends, goddamn.
10,000 BC, a group of cavemen in the Oki Islands of Japan needed some warmth and wanted to start a fire when they discovered a funny-looking green plant, and either out of curiosity or desperation took it and inadvertently created history's first ever hotbox. Yet this early grass was not that loud that people be smoking today, because as we know, over the years the za has been scientifically and artificially cultivated to be much more concentrated in the high it gives. So although it is funny to think about a group of cavemen purposely starting a fire in a small shelter for the sole purpose of getting faded in a hoe, it is unlikely that it actually ever happened. Yet aside from this iffy recreational stint in Japan, hemp was first commonly used in the lands that are modern-day Mongolia and China for more practical uses like eating it. Which, after saying that, you might be imagining something like this. Yo, what's up? How you doing? Had any fun with those new seeds I gave you?
Yo, nah, I actually came here to give them back. Last night I was looking at the moon and I swear that motherfucker was looking right back at me.
But alas, this probably wasn't the reality because the THC levels in this early cultivated Zaza were just really low, but soon the Chinese would discover that the holy plant's fibers were also great for making stuff too, like clothes, paper, and bowstrings. Which turns out hemp fibers were superior to the bamboo ones used by rivaling factions, allowing the Chinese to shoot their arrows much further. So basically, back in the day, if you were having a long distance bow battle and were losing, you might have screamed out, "We need to get closer! These motherfuckers have weed!" Anyway, it wasn't long after mofos realized that the loud wasn't only good for making stuff, it was also great for treating physical maladies. And after a couple thousand years, Emperor Shen Nung, known as the father of Chinese medicine, included the magic plant in his medical encyclopedia under the name Ma. Which, that sounds oddly similar to Za, doesn't it? I'm guessing every couple thousand years the first letter changes or something. But now, let's explore the question we're all asking. When exactly did mofos start ripping that shit to get faded? Well, one of the earliest counts is about 2,500 years ago, when researchers discovered 10 mini barbecues in a cemetery near modern-day Tajikistan that had residue of burnt cannabis with a much higher concentration of THC than normal, probably meaning it was selectively bred to get you, well, lit. Although this was one of the first counts of people purposely inhaling the broccoli to get high, it was most likely used as part of a ritual to invoke an altered state of mind, so you could communicate with spirits.
Which shit, dog, I wanna know what these dudes were smoking, cause I ain't never heard of no grass to get you to the spirit realm.
This might have low-key been the last kush Snoop Dogg smoked, cause once you get so high you start communicating with your dead gran-gran, that's when you really might be like,
Okay, I think it's about time I stop smoking this shit.
Since cannabis for one reason or another proved to be quite the useful plant, people started trading it around the world as soon as it was domesticated. Which the only people who didn't really fuck with the Zaza were Europeans who preferred getting hammered instead, which is low-key reflected in modern times too, especially in the northern countries where once you turn 18 you can drink as much poison as you want, but if you want to blaze, well, you might be looking at a little bit of jail time, my boy. But now let's quickly go over the uses of cannabis throughout different cultures so we can move on to the modern age, starting with Hindus. They made something called bang, an edible cannabis paste that had medicinal properties but also got you high. This could be added to a variety of foods and drinks, which this bang was the preferred food of the Hindu god Shiva, making him in my eyes the god of edibles.
Disclaimer, that was a joke.
Islam. Here the za was called hashish and was introduced about 1,000 years ago, which hashish wasn't strictly forbidden in the Quran at first, so a lot of Muslims ate it for its medicinal and relaxation properties. But later, Egypt basically banned it, and also the Quran was revisited by many and reinterpreted to include hashish to be banned just like alcohol. The Vikings. These dudes basically used the za to make rope, sailcloth, and other things, but also for its medicinal properties, mostly to relieve pain, and to date there's no hard evidence that they consumed it for its recreational use, but you know, maybe they should have, because they were quite the horrendous savages and murderers, so it might have made them think a little bit about peace and love. But what about America, England, and the actual global world powers? How did they react to weed? Well, again, like the Chinese, Europeans and Americans at first prominently used the magic green plant in the 16th to 18th century for more practical things like making sailcloth and rope, which the plant itself grew much larger in the New World soil, and combined with the practicality of it, everything started being hemp-derived. Clothes, paper, well, basically anything that required fibers. But the question still remains, when did mofos start smoking that shit
to get blasted on the regular. Cause although at some point you, your neighbor, your grandma, your boss, and even George Washington were out here growing weed, wasn't nobody out here rolling them up. Well, until the arrival of Mexicans. The loud version of hemp first arrived in Brazil in the early 1500s by way of enslaved Africans traveling with the Portuguese. And the native South Americans, who are already consuming some other psychoactive substances, quickly started blazing the Zaza too, and its use soon spread across South America and into Mexico, from which in the 1910s is when the loud first spread into the US via Mexican immigrants escaping the effects of the Mexican Revolution. And almost immediately the good was viewed as a threat, and by 1931, 29 states had banned its use. Although it wasn't really the Zaza that the US didn't fall with, it was unfortunately mostly just racism against Mexican Americans and black citizens of the South, which both these groups were enjoyers of the Zaza to some regard, so it became a scapegoat for racial bias in the US, and they blamed it for everything from petty crimes all the way to murder. And in 1937, the US completely banned all non-medical use of weed, which all of this kind of explains why the mostly peaceful plant has been thrown in the same Schedule 1 category with full-on life-destroying substances like heroin and cocaine. But thankfully, a couple decades later came the hippie movement of the 1960s to 1970s. This is what lightly sparked a comeback for weed, cause unlike before, when the Zaza was mostly smoked by Mexican immigrants and black citizens who the US was massively racist against, the hippie movement had middle-class white American youth start blazing too. Which it was all about love, peace, spirituality, non-violence, and of course, every hippie's favorite, recreational drug use. Although most hippies were all about peace and love, that was quite easy to say when most of them were literally privileged enough to drop out of college, run off with Cassandra in a rainbow van, go on copious amounts of mindset-altering trips, mostly powered by LSD, and then return 10 years later to their parents and have them say,
It's okay, son. I was young and stupid once too.
Anyway, although the grass was still federally illegal, this didn't really do much, cause in 1976, 1 in 8 Americans over the age of 12 admitted to smoking it in the past 30 days. Hippies though were especially interested in cannabis, so much so they went on something called the Hippie Trail, which was basically an excursion by the youths of the world to go over to the Middle East and India, all while riding in magic buses and discovering new ways to get absolutely blasted, such as smoking the concentrated Zaza resin known as hash. But acquiring the Zaza would soon get much harder, because you see, most of it came from Mexico, so in 1969 the US started patrolling the border, and in 1975 they got even more aggressive and started spraying herbicide on Mexican wheat plants. And so good old supply and demand made grass prices skyrocket, which a lot of people started then growing the plant themselves in mini greenhouses, closets, bathtubs, storage units, basements, wherever they could. But then in 1982, Mr. Smarty Pants Ronald Reagan took it even a step further by encouraging the streamlined arrest of anyone in possession of an illegal substance, which was really dumb because most of the focus was on pot, all while crack, meth, and heroin were all still being transported and consumed on a regular basis. Even worse, this enforcement seemed to be racially motivated because despite plenty of traffickers and consumers being white, the majority of arrests were Latino and black youths, all while this bizarre over-focus on cannabis allowed the growing opioid epidemic to go unchecked. But thankfully, the US is slowly learning from their mistakes, where today 24 states have legalized the recreational use of marijuana. On top of that, the increased level of research on it has also found multiple medical use cases and can be prescribed to you by special doctors if seen fit. And although the Zaza is still federally illegal and a Schedule 1 drug, the overall perception of it has changed for the better, including in December 2022 when President Biden signed a bill to make it easier for researchers to obtain plants for their studies, which will hopefully accelerate the learning of positive and negative side effects of consuming the Za even further. But all that aside, the overall vibe towards the loud has gotten a lot more accepting, and these days more and more people view the smoking of the grass not as you being a junkie, but the same way as having a couple beers with the homies on a Friday night and watching some WWE. January 1st, 2014, there is a line of people in front of a store in Denver, Colorado. Time goes by and they finally open, which then a man walks in and buys the first ever legal recreational bag of weed in the US and gets absolutely obliterated. And I'm pretty sure no one expected this event to bring forth one of the fastest growing industries in the United States. From being known as the murder drug in India to going to your local dispensary and buying an $80 bag of banana strawberry pudding flavored weed, this is the story of how the za went from illegal to a projected $100 billion industry by 2028. And it all started in the early 1900s. The initial regulation of cannabis in the United States came with the enactment of the 1937 Marijuana Tax Act. There is a widespread belief that the decision to outlaw cannabis was driven by racial motivations, for you see, during the early 1900s, a growing influx of Mexican immigrants into the US prompted a shift in media discourse towards portraying the ganja as a dangerous substance, leading to the implementation of stricter drug and cannabis laws. Media reports even went as far as labeling marijuana as the murder drug. Yeah, bro, not meth and not coke, weed was the murder drug.
What are you doing, bro? Smoking that murder drug.
Oh, I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah, man, it makes you violent and literally go insane.
Oh, damn, I'll put it away. Thanks for warning me.
Nah, you good. Just don't do it again.
What's that?
This? Don't worry, this is just crack.
Also, during this time, newspapers frequently circulated assertions linking marijuana use to mental illness, promiscuity, and violent behavior. These claims significantly deterred recreational marijuana use among the majority of Americans, despite the substance not being widely recognized at the time. Which, my favorite of the bunch is definitely violent behavior. I just can't deny that every time I smoke a doozy at the end of my day, I get this sudden rage, and I just start fucking going apeshit. That's probably also a big reason why Bob Marley was such a war activist and always propagating rage and hatred.
Disclaimer, that was all sarcasm.
Anyway, later on, John Ehrlichman, or whatever the fuck his name is, a senior advisor to Nixon, was quoted as saying, well, the quote is pretty long and boring, so I'll just summarize it. Pause the video if you want to see the full version. Did we know we were finessing the public about weed?
See, of course, dog. But you gotta understand, bro. We did it for America. We got the public to associate hippies with weed and blacks with heroin. Then we criminalized the shit out of it and went full commando on them. We talking Rambo. We talking death to the chopper. Shit, we went full D-Day on them motherfuckers, man. We hit so many damn licks. Shit was kind of ridiculous.
This quote was kind of the catalyst of the 1970 Controlled Substance Act, which was the consolidation of over 200 previous drug laws into a single statute governing the production and distribution of specific substances. Under the Controlled Substance Act, drugs were categorized into 5 schedules based on their potential for abuse and medical utility. This streamlined the process of drafting and amending laws to encompass entire groups of drugs rather than addressing each one individually. Schedule 1 drugs, the most rigorously regulated, were classified as having no recognized medical value, so obviously medical marijuana must have been like the lowest schedule, right? Wrong! Despite evidence indicating a lower risk of abuse and clear medical benefits, marijuana was still placed under Schedule 1. Research has demonstrated its effectiveness in treating conditions such as AIDS, cancer, epilepsy, and various other medical ailments. But I guess Congress was still like,
it's not the Lord's loud. It's the devil's lettuce.
Since its initial prohibition, there have been ongoing movements advocating for the legalization of cannabis, which in the 1970s pressure to legalize weed intensified in California. Proposition 19 aimed to legalize the grass and was introduced on the ballot in 1972, but garnered only 33% of the vote, so it failed for now. The push for legalization has primarily focused on 3 distinct products: CBD, medical marijuana, and everybody's favorite, recreational marijuana. So finally in 1996, California became the pioneering state to overturn the prohibition of weed by legalizing medical marijuana, despite conflicting with the federal law, brah. Subsequently, in 2012, Colorado and Washington became the first states to legalize recreational weed use. Oh yeah.
Yo, bro, did you hear? Weed is finally legal.
Really?
Yeah, bro, I just bought this from a store.
Shit is wild.
So you're telling me if I went down to my underground farm, harvest my 20 or so pounds of weed, then go to the university campus, set up a weed lemonade stand, and sell all of my lemon haze to the students, I'm not a drug dealer and just a businessman?
Nah, I think you can like have a couple grams, and your operation is still, well, not gonna lie, bro. I got a wire, and the FBI should be kicking your door in right about... FBI, open up! Which brings us to today, where the za is still federally illegal and a Schedule 1 drug, and because of that, there really isn't a lot of research on it. Between 2000 and 2018, $1.56 billion was allocated to cannabis research, with half of this sum dedicated to investigating the potential adverse effects of the drug in recreational use. This disproportionate allocation meant that understanding the harms of weed received 20 times more funding than any other area of research, while only a fraction, less than $5 million, was directed towards enhancing our understanding of its therapeutic application. In 2018 though, the Farm Bill legalized CBD throughout the US, as long as it followed the rules of staying below 0.3% THC, which this Farm Bill turned out to have a shit ton of legal loopholes, making the sale of real weed online completely legal and possible. More on that later. Anyway, because of the lack of research and, well, frankly, awful regulations, we are currently in the wild west of the cannabis industry. You might assume buying weed from a big brand is safer than, let's say, your friendly neighborhood plug, and in some cases it might be, but a lot of times your plug is selling the same shit a dispensary is, just the dispensary is putting it in a fancy bag. Even worse, there's a big issue with sprayed weed, which basically means bud that is artificially flavored in a machine to give the illusion of it being some exotic Havana pack, when in reality it's just a mid sprayed with banana flavor. So you're telling me this eighth costs $100 because it was grown and harvested in Uganda, Africa, right next to the exotic banana farms, and that's why it's banana flavor? Yup. Then why is there a spray bottle right there labeled banana?
Why are you asking so many questions, man? Are you a cop?
What? No.
Guys, get over here. We gotta kill this guy.
But you can't fully blame the growers and dispensaries for this. The problem is the regulations and taxes that are put on these products are so hefty it makes turning a profit really hard. Basically, if your manufacturing cost isn't like at least 10 times less what you're selling it for, you're kinda screwed. There's also a multi-billion-dollar industry that spawned from the 2018 Farm Bill called the derivative industry. And if you don't know what derivatives are, they're basically weed, but sometimes altered chemically, like for example HHC, which is just THC but with an extra hydrogen molecule. The most insane derivative is THCA though, which is quite literally just weed, only in its normal state before you heat it, it isn't. It's only after when you light it that shit converts to regular old, get you smacked like a penguin THC, which, you know, unless your main method of getting high is sticking the nug up your ass. What I'm saying is, THCA is in every sense just THC when you're using it for the purpose of getting faded, which you probably are. But just because we are currently in the wild west of the weed industry doesn't mean it's gonna be like this forever. More and more countries are legalizing and propelling weed further and further away from the dark shadow it used to be under. Germany is legalizing on April 1st, 2024, Spain has social cannabis clubs, the Netherlands just legalized, Canada legalized, etc. It seems every year that goes by, more and more countries are legalizing. And especially in the US, once they start getting solid tax laws and regulations on the stuff, I think a lot of the problems I mentioned earlier will fix themselves. Honestly, this is very cool, and I do believe you and me will live long enough to one day witness a generation who grow up with weed being looked at the same way as alcohol. The way I see it, as the old generation of politicians and world leaders fades, the stigma surrounding weed will too. You can even see glimpses of it today, as a lot of politicians are using legal weed as a way to get your vote, which, you know, don't let that be your main motivation for voting for someone, but you know, it's a bonus.
Man, smoking too much is such an awkward thing, especially because of how normalized getting faded has become. Nobody wants to be the guy who kills the vibe by admitting they graining the fuck out. Like, dudes be knowing they approaching their limit, but peer pressure is a bitch. Like this one time in school when we were smacking the paper plagiarism on lunch break, and I could tell everybody was nearing the border between Yodiland and the Upside Down, but this motherfucker Salamander just kept on passing the J, and nobody wanted to be the first one to back out. Everyone kept on puffing and puffing until this one motherfucker just started puking like goddamn. Safe to say, dude probably hasn't smoked again till this day. But you know, that was high school. Most kids weren't on that Wiz Khalifa pack like Salamander. I mean, this dude's parents were barely home, so mans must have just been low-key looking for attention by acting out. But instead, all he got was Snoop Dogg's tolerance and all the school thotties daily driving his dick.
Some of you might not even know what it feels like when you smoke too much though. Shit, I know I didn't. My dumbass always just concluded that the stuff was laced, which looking back at it now makes me feel like a dinglebop for real. I mean, how you gonna smoke way more than you usually do in a situation you're not super comfortable in and then blame it on the weed? It's like a drunk driver suing an alcohol brand for making him unable to drive straight. Shit, it's like going to the store and buying too much food and then blaming the cashier for not stopping you. Like, bro, it's not on Jimmy the Plug God. Dude is probably smoking the same stuff as we speak. And yeah, I know sometimes it could actually be laced, but what does telling yourself that help? Like, wouldn't it be better to believe it's not and your brain is just tweaking? Then you could maybe, you know, calm yourself down. Unlike when you convince yourself the Plug is a fucking supervillain going around giving his customers schizophrenia. Like, goddamn son, someone's gotta like the bat signal for real. But shit, I'm out here preaching like I ain't done this myself. Back when I was younger, I did green out a couple times, but since then, I have developed rules I follow to avoid this at all costs. Like, for example, first rule, you don't always gotta get obliviated, bruh. Seems simple enough, right? But back in the day, every time we were smoking, my dumbass felt like I had to get higher than last time. Once the J reached me, I just...
Thanks, bro. You guys got another one?
Bro. No. There's just some basic etiquette too, like everybody wanna get faded equally, but one thing with smokers is they're usually always chill and peaceful, so when you start hogging a spliff, rarely is somebody gonna forcefully take that shit from you. Just next time when you pull up, they'll bag your ass, pistol whip you, throw you in the trunk, and bury you alive next to Mr. Beast. That video would probably have to be on Rumble though. But point is, you don't always gotta be the highest in the room. Second rule, accept your limits. This is low-key the most important and the most difficult, but you might be thinking something like, don't you mean know your limits? No, I don't, bro. Cause I bet most y'all know them. Just when you be watching Fulcrum smacking the Benjamin like that bitch be only containing O2, you get a false understanding on how much mofos be actually smoking. Cause you can always do more, but what you can't do is forcefully remove the THC from your system and get less high. So don't be a victim of peer pressure just cause you wanna be cool, fool. But these rules don't mean shit if you don't factor in where you are and what you're doing. Which leads me to the day that made me come up with these rules. The time in my young life when I smoked so much in the wrong place, I was goddamn obliviated. Shit, I smoked so much I had less dialogue options than an Oblivion NPC. The first time I got high outside the comfort of me or a friend's crib, it was the usual business. We were chilling with the gremlins, me, Salamander, and Ricky, smoking up, talking about how we don't fall with school and how we finna make it out the hood. You know, the usual Gen Z shit. When Salamander, being the thotty magnet he was, got a text from one of his female companions inviting to what this motherfucker claimed to be a chill hangout spot. Although I do trust the homies, knowing Salamander's track record, I was a bit sus, cause I seen the places this dude hangs out at. I'll be waking up at the middle of the night to take a piss, then check the snap only to see dudes partying at some straight up trap house bugging off fucking ketamine. Okay, can't say that on YouTube, but let's just say it wasn't weed. Anyway, you know the drill. I don't wanna go, Salamander uses his 99 speech, convinces Ricky, now it's a 2v1, and I fold. Epic victory royale. But I agreed only under the condition that none of us drink nor do anything else but smoke the Lord's loud, because it was a motherfucking Thursday after all, so I wasn't trying to pull up to school smelling like a bum, acting like a depressed middle-aged man from The Hangover. Looking back at it though, that was probably the wrong call, cause, well, you'll see. So we're walking to the crib and Salamander lights up this comically big J that he rolled back at his place with a week supply. While we're almost finished puffing and on the edge of obliviation, I see this super dope house that seems to be having a party, so I excitedly asked Salamander,
Yo, is that the spot? Bro, okay, that place does seem pretty dope.
oh yeah, that's the spot. Glad you fought with it. Some people are kinda put off by it from the initial appearance. Anyway, let's just go in.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. You first though. Where are you going?
What do you mean? The crib, bro. Leave it to Salamander to have you walk through an amazing street filled with beautiful houses and lead you to the only one that looks like Shrek's vacation home. To add to it, me and Ricky were quite frankly bugging. But as I mentioned in the previous rules, that's not always a good thing, especially when you're preparing to go into a house where your brain has calculated a 50-50 chance of being stabbed in the gut by a freaking tweaker with a kitchen knife. In my head, I was thinking, well, hoping for the saying, don't judge a book by its cover to be the case here. But oh boy, I should have judged the goddamn book by its cover and dashed off like Prime Usain Bolt. Cause what we were dealing with was in every sense of the word except not containing any of the actual substance, I think, a crack house. house. These people were blasting some of the most disgusting music I've ever heard. Shit sounding like the noise a speaker makes when you fiddle with the aux cord. And because I was high, that set the whole tone of my experience there. And shit, I did not know Salamander hanged out with vampires. Most of the dudes there were looking what you would imagine the local bum to be when he was young. I was in total shock. My teenage brain could not comprehend the degeneracy, the idiocy, the overall lack of humanity in that house. And it's not like I didn't try to have fun, but our highness did not mix with whatever the fuck these guys were on. At some point, I saw him pull out a vodka bottle, and they drank the whole thing in 5 minutes dry, straight from the bottle, like they were trying to speedrun liver failure. I attempted to conversate with some of them, but to no avail. I mean, what did I expect though? A drunk person usually isn't on the same wavelength as a high person, combined with the fact these dudes probably just got done sacrificing a goat to bring forth the Antichrist. I was starting to tweak the fuck out. Well, not tweak, I guess. Me and Ricky did have some fun by just bantering about how messed up of a place we had found ourselves in. All of this didn't seem to affect Salamander though, as we spotted him rizzing up a girl we assumed was the one that invited him, but we were wrong in that assessment because 5 minutes later the girl who actually invited him saw it, went up to him, yelled at him, and then slapped that man so hard it made him rethink his whole damn life. Cause as we were laughing at what had happened, he walked straight towards us and said, "Man,
You guys want to do some ketamine?
nah, he actually told us that this was probably a bad idea and that he's ready to leave if we are. Good thing too, cause if that girl hadn't slapped some sense into him, Salamander might have gone on to do the thing I mentioned like 3 times in this video. So anyway, we went back home at like 2 AM or something, put on some WWE on the TV, prepared to gleep, and got obliviated. Doesn't go much further than that.
Shout out to Volcro.
Everybody's first time doing edibles is always the same. First you eat them, then you wait for like 25 minutes, then you confidently proclaim,
These edibles ain't shit.
and then for the next couple hours, you just drift away further and further into that.
The government are reptiles, the ocean is fake, the earth is a cube, and I must slay the Ender Dragon. Tonight.
In my case, my first edibles really weren't shit, cause we accidentally might have forgotten them in the oven and burnt that THC into CO2, but we didn't let that discourage us from trying again the next day. So me and my brother, still fueled by the disappointment of yesterday, wake up at 9 AM and start plotting our next move. We only have 1 gram left, so if this fails, we're pretty much screwed. One thing you might not know about making edibles is if you're throwing straight grass in the oven like we did, then be prepared for the whole house to smell like Snoop Dogg's living room. So we had to carefully time our cooking so that when our parents got home, the house wouldn't smell like the plug's car, if you know what I mean. And this time, we did everything right, and after an hour of feeling like the stoner versions of Gordon Ramsay, we held the finished product in our hands. But before we devoured the THC cookies, we decided to go to Grandma's place, because she lived in the countryside and it was a beautiful day, so we thought it would be nice and chill there. Also, Grandma always is strapped way up with the candy, the cakes, the chicken, the steak. She got all the munch a man could ask for. So we're driving 20 minutes away and decide to eat them Eddies, so that by the time we're there, it should start kicking. Yet, when we arrive, we still feel nothing. We say hi to Grandma and sit down in the living room. Bro, maybe we messed him up again. Nah, I don't think so. We did everything by the recipe this time. Yeah, let's wait a little more. It's been 40 minutes though. Should be feeling something at least. Yeah, I feel you. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go take a shit. So I hop in the bathroom to empty my system real quick, and I suddenly feel it. Then I hear some music coming from the living room and get intrigued. I finish my business with the toilet and go to the living room to find my brother jamming it out to some old ass radio playing some Elvis Presley or something. I wanna call him a dumbass, but I can't, cause my body starts moving by itself. This music is peak, there is nothing better. Until the next old song comes on, and it slaps harder than Chris Brown in 2009.
I'm obviously talking about his music in 2009, not the incident with Rihanna.
At some point, we had had enough of the old-timey radio, so we turned it off and sat down on the couch to discuss our next move. So, how high are you?
Yeah, I'm high.
Yeah, me too. Real question is, do we take the second cookie? Now, we had baked 4 edibles total, so we had 2 left. We didn't plan on eating them that day though, because from what we had heard, edibles are supposed to hit their max in like 3 hours after consumption, so obviously I answered,
I think we should, bro, for science.
We took the second cookies out of their folium wrapping and ate them
with some milk.
Then we decided to go swimming, cause shit, why not I guess. As we're walking to the pond, I suddenly think to myself, am I cold? And then it hits. I start shivering and feeling like a warm pizza roll in the freezer. I'm not supposed to be here. I can't go on, I say. I'm too cold. My brother looks at me with disappointment in his eyes like, so that's all you can take. A tinsy-pinsy little edible and you get scared of the cold, eh? Now, keep in mind, this was when I was 18 and I wasn't quite the 420 god I am today, so I had this thing where if I got really high and it wasn't walk around in your boxers type of warm, I'd start overthinking that I'm cold and then I'd actually start feeling cold. But I said to myself, no, I won't let these edibles control me. And I decided to push through the unwavering cold and fight my inner demons at the little pond over there. So we pull up to the pond and it's time to go swimming. And it wasn't that bad actually. The water was pretty warm and once I got used to it, I stopped shivering. So pretty much the edibles had cured my crippling fear of the cold. We start walking back to the house and so far I thought I was suited to the max. But then the second Eddie kicks. And bro, this was the high I had read about but never believed in. It was psychedelic. My vision was crazy, like everything was 30 FPS and I could see an after image of my hand when I moved it. So at this point, there was no way I was doing anything else. So we went upstairs to our room and just started doing the randomest stuff, like inspecting objects, looking at the ceiling, munching. But the one thing I did that I don't recommend doing at this stage was looking in the damn mirror. It was crazy. I was not moving in sync with myself and I felt like the mirror version of me was from the other side, like Stranger Things or some shit. After like 30 minutes of doing things, we got really tired. Just standing up and functioning had become an immeasurably difficult task. So even though it was only 9 PM, we decided to call it a day. But I couldn't sleep. These two monster cookies got me overthinking everything. Laying on the bed, eyes wide open like, bro, what if that really was the Stranger Things version of me? What if he's waiting for me to fall asleep? I don't want to go to the shitty other side. I don't know any plugs there. Where am I gonna get my weed? And when I finally did try to close my eyes, I started tripping way out. Half asleep, half awake, seeing these vivid dreams. Thankfully, at some point I did fall asleep. And not just any sleep, I went into freaking hibernation, cause I was out cold for a calm 16 hours. So I'd say lesson of the story is, if it's your first time doing edibles, wait like at least 2 hours before you proclaim the classic, these edibles ain't shit.
Smoking alone. It's a lot different than smoking with a group because, well, you're alone, so it's exclusively your job to explore those high thoughts and piece together fun activities to enjoy the high. And if all goes well, you'll have a blast, scrolling shorts, playing games, watching movies, pondering the scale of the universe and how nothing actually matters. It's great! But it comes with a catch. You see, when you're with a group of friends, it's much easier to stay on subject and destroy the evil thoughts the grass might curse you with. So, in my experience, when I'm getting high alone, I usually smoke a bit less just cause being super mega high is 99% of the time best enjoyed with a group and not by yourself. Unfortunately, when I was a youngster, I hadn't discovered this. In fact, I accidentally got the highest I'd ever been up until that point. And the demons I faced that night made me who I am today. The story begins with a high schooler CBD bro who had planned a great adventure with the main homie Salamander and Ricky. Well, not a great adventure per se. We were gonna go to Salamander's place on Friday night and get absolutely obliterated off that Zaza. And for that, I had secured a whole gram of that exotic the Friday before. And although very tough, I fought the urge to blaze for a whole week just so we could demolish it all together in one night. And if you watch some of my older videos, you know Salamander had a bit of a funky home situation, so a lot of times his house was completely free, and this was supposed to be the case on this beautiful night as well. So you know your boy was excited as an 8-year-old on Christmas for this upcoming Friday night high extravaganza. But it all came crashing down when Salamander texted me, "Hey yo, my parents came home tonight and well, they found my bong, so I'm basically in the gulag now, so no smoke sesh tonight, nor probably the next night, nor, well, until they leave again. See you once I serve my time." LOL. A true tragedy. Our plans have been foiled by none other than Salamander's stinky old bong, which would have never happened if instead of his stinky BONG. But I think you guys can see where this story is going. I had a whole gram of that fine exotic grass, and I've been holding myself back for a whole week in anticipation for the now cancelled high extravaganza. So here I was, standing in my shitty little dorm, filled with sorrow. I decided, screw it, I'ma just smoke alone. So I put my level 99 J-rolling skills to use, and after about 15 minutes of fumbling the spliff, I had done it. I rolled a J that was intended for free people, and headed outside to smoke it all by myself. After heading out, I went to my favorite park bench that was just outside the dormitory territory and started chipping away at the abomination I created. 1 puff, 2 puffs, 3 puffs. I was faded than a hoe, but nowhere near the fadedness I had been awaiting for. I continued puffing away until I reached the halfway point and my mouth became drier than the Sahara Desert, bro. So I took a little break to try to figure out how high I truly was. As I stared into nothingness for a good minute, I felt my first person camera slowly pull away into third person, like I was in GTA 5 or something. And I have no shame in saying I didn't smoke the whole thing, cause I was starting to get a bit paranoid, so I took my half-smoked 1G spliff and headed back to my dorm. And bro, you know those creepy pictures that are creepy because they look familiar, like it's just a normal pic, but then you really look at them and realize they ain't normal? Yeah, well, that's how I felt when I walked through the hallway leading to my room. But anyway, once I got to my room, I was still feeling paranoid. Like, it was weird cause I had never felt that way before from Za, and I think that's just cause when you get high with others, you're kinda comforted by the fact that you're not alone in the feeling of being absolutely smacked out of your mind. Thankfully, I did find some comfort in my favorite platform, YouTube. So I started watching some good vibey videos and slowly snapped out of my paranoid state, but was instantly greeted with a new problem. An uncontrollable sensation that if not satisfied will drive you right back to where you started. I'm talking of course about the munchies. So I gathered my strength and started walking to the closest store, and once I arrived, well, I ain't even gonna lie, my wallet was at the mercy of the Za, bro. So basically every food item I saw, my brain went, bro, see those Twinkies? That shit looks bussin'. Yeah, I know, but it's $4 and I already got like $25 worth of stuff in my car.
Nah, bruh. Screw all that. You buy this fucking bag of Twinkies or I'm giving you a panic attack right here, right now, bro.
Okay, I'll buy the Twinkies.
Yeah, of course you will. Well, while you're at it, take that cheese sauce for the nachos too.
Okay, I will. After my brain finished ganking the shit out of my wallet, I went back to my room and started demolishing everything I bought. And after that whole munch sesh, I was feeling a lot less hot too, but also my stomach was a bit upset, so I took a massive dump, laid down on my bed, and started scrolling shorts. And I scrolled and scrolled until I passed out without even brushing my teeth and still in my clothes. So you can imagine the next day, I had a bit of a cush hangover, feeling like Shrek, haziness, and overall being slower mentally, but hey, no regrets, cause my brain wasn't lying about those Twinkies, god damn. The first day back at school, a day I used to hate. I mean, can you blame me? Cause as a student, summer is the only significant amount of time you are granted to enjoy your young life, and the rest, well, back to the academic 9 to 5. But to make the clown show that is the first day back at school a bit more fun and exciting, me, Salamander, and Ricky conjured up a devious plot to add a little bit of spice into the mix. It all started on the night before the first day. We were all at Salamander's place just chilling, playing Xbox, eating Doritos, and smacking the Benjamin, of course, when the conversation sailed to the topic of going back to school. It was the usual, man, I don't wanna go back to school. Yeah, bro, same. Until Salamander, the troubled child he was, or is, I don't know, said, hey guys, you know what we should do tomorrow before the opening ceremony? No. We should totally spark a J. Nah, man, you know I don't like getting faded in school. That shit is so stressful.
Nah, hear me out. This ain't school. It's the first day ceremony where they sing, read poems, and I don't know, maybe someone will do a flip or something too. So, wouldn't it be more fun if during all that we were faded? he's got a point.
Okay, but just a little. You better not bring some abomination of a spliff like last time.
Shit, you know me, I wouldn't do that.
We decided to smoke up just a little bit before the first day. A little bit was what we agreed upon. So obviously, Salamander, being the trustworthy homie he is, would never peer pressure nor instigate a friend into smoking more than he wants. So obviously, he only rolled a small split.
Okay, so, here's the J.
Bruh. This mofo heard my request of a small J to get only a bit suited and decided,
Okay, small, microdosed, small J, medium. Nah, fuck it, fatty.
speaking of rolling J's, first you gotta grind your saw, and what better way to do that than with the CBDBro 4-layer magnetic metal grinder. This magnificent grinder has 3 separate compartments for grinding, bud storage, and even one for your filtered out keef. Plus, because of its great build quality, the teeth on it will never break, unlike your plastic grinders, which with enough grinds, your saw will eventually get laced with plastic, bro. Don't seem all that healthy to me. So if you wanna up your saw game and support the creation of these videos, ain't no better way than the CBDBro grinder. So check it out by clicking the link in the pinned comment or description. But anyway, here we are on the park bench outside the school premises at 8:30 a.m. during wake and bake hours. And well, because me and Ricky are men of integrity and honor and would never waste free za, we fell to the bamboozlement of Salamander yet again and smoked the whole thing. Whereas right after, we were running a bit late, so the 3 of us Soink Musketeers stood up and started walking intensely to school. But honestly and thankfully, I wasn't very paranoid, unlike most of the times I got high at school, because, well, it was the first day and we didn't really have any classes except for only one introductory welcome back type thing that was supposed to last only 45 minutes, so not a big deal. Once we arrived at the auditorium, we were shell-shocked to find out the speech was already going on, and because we were looking like a couple medium rare filet mignons, we didn't really want to go in, cause we knew when we opened that door, everybody would stop and stare at us, cause that's just how it always is when you arrive to class late. And although Salamander was telling us,
Nah, guys, don't be pussios, let's just go.
we ended up sitting out the first part until lunchtime, cause we were pretty sure we wouldn't get in trouble if we just said we missed our bus or something. 30 minutes went by and lunchtime came, and because we were camped out at the cafeteria, we were the first to get their welcome back to school lunch. And what was that wonderful, significant, mouth-watering dish, you might ask? Well, it was nothing but munchies heaven. We were served some beans, a boiled egg, and some turkey meat or something. Oh, and I can't forget the 1% milk that tastes like it was mixed with water. Fantastic. But even though the food should have been pretty dog poop, it was actually pretty aight. I mean, it wasn't no Big Mac and McNuggets, but because we were high, it was edible. No. I would even go as far and say it was pretty good. After eating our gulag food faster than everybody else, we were the first back in the auditorium, and because of that, we got the best seats in the house, at the far back corner where no one could see us. And although we had missed the only important part of the day, that being the introductory speech by the principal, we did have a jolly old time listening to the honor students' inspirational poems and songs about life by giggling and chuckling in the back like math.
Hey, yo. Chemistry.
And with that, the first day had come to an end, and we went back home and played Xbox High. But if you want to learn about the first day at school experience, click the video on the screen now. See you there. Substance addiction is a very scary thing. Well, it depends. A dude who's addicted to ashwagandha ain't gonna be on the same level of desperation as a motherfucking crackhead, but nevertheless, both them dudes still addicted. Only difference is one is willing to lie, rob, manipulate, and destroy all his relationships just to get one more smack of that sweet crack. Anyway, since this seems to be a trendy topic right now, we are going to be ranking every substance from S to F based on many factors like addictiveness, how hard it is to quit, how much it affects your life negatively, etc. With F being the hardest to quit and most harmful for you, and S being just a mild addiction. And all of this will of course be presented to you in a family-friendly, comedic, entertaining, and scientific way. So, YouTube, please,
I'm just a funny stick man.
So let's start it off with what your boy might be addicted to just a teeny tiny bit, and that's of course weed. Some people might say you can't get addicted to weed, and to those I say, bro, you dumb as shit. Okay, not to be mean, but that statement is just false, because as humans, we can get addicted to anything and everything. Even shit like a cool breeze on a hot summer's day could get you addicted, because that shit feels nice, bruh. What I'm trying to say is that even though getting physically addicted to the Zaza is quite hard, getting mentally addicted is easier than watching a 10-minute YouTube video. Well, if you're Gen Alpha, this doesn't apply to you with your skibbity toilets and stuff, but you get what I mean. It's all about habit and relieving stress, and even if you smoke up once a day at the end of your day when you got all your shit done and it's time to relax, you still mentally addicted by equating relaxation with smoking the Lord's loud. But overall, if I'm being a $125.5 with you, this isn't too bad, cause when you're at this level, you won't start tweaking if you don't have any weed. You just prefer it if you did. But if you do smoke up 24/7, it's a bit different, cause your body will start relying on the za to get you through your day. Although honestly, it's kinda hard to get to that point, cause if you're anything like me, after a day or two of smoking weed and doing nothing productive, your mind will tell you, oh boy, time to get faded and play V-Rising all day again. Bro, what the fuck is you doing? You really finna wake and bake again? You're broke, and you look like a damn bum. Man, I swear, you wake and bake today too, and I'ma start giving you mad anxiety, bruh. Oh, okay, fine. I'll be a functioning human today. Total busk. So all in all, weed gets a B rating because of its mostly non-addictive nature and relative ease in which it is to quit for most people. Very much unlike fentanyl. Not much to say here. Smoke once, you dead, bro. Don't have to worry about quitting cause, well, you're dead. Oh, but if you do survive, your brain has now been chemically altered forever, so now all you want is the stuff. So if not instantly, you're dead in a week or two tops. Although I think some people have managed to quit, they'll probably just never be the same again. So complete F tier. Nah, actually fucking Z tier. Don't even think about it, bro. Crack. Now, before I researched into fentanyl, I thought this was like the pinnacle of addiction. I guess not, cause I saw this clip of some dude talking about how veteran crackheads who have been alive for decades and still smoking that shit be dead instantly after taking a sniff of fentanyl. But even so, crack is F tier, cause just like fentanyl, it alters the chemistry of your brain, and now the pursuit of happiness turns into the pursuit of crack. Again, don't even think about it, bruh. Now let's tune back from the hardcore stuff in hopes that this video still staying monetized, which seems more like a fantasy right now, but anyway. Caffeine, the wonder drug, a widely accepted and extensively researched substance that works by stimulating your body and increasing the activity in your brain and nervous system. Just drink too much of it and it'll have the exact opposite effect, leaving you super anxious and unable to work properly. Also, it is somewhat addictive, although quite controllable, but if you do drink the same amount of coffee or shotgun a Red Bull every day, pretty soon you'll discover that the Red Bull isn't really getting you going anymore. So now you need another, so you either get another, or you realize that this is a slippery slope and not drink that Red Bull for a day or two and your tolerance goes back to normal. I found the best way to manage your caffeine addiction is to only consume it when you feel like you're gonna need it for the day. What I mean by that is if you, let's say, work from Monday to Friday, then drink a coffee or two those days, but refrain from consuming caffeine on the weekends. That should give your mind and body enough time to reset your dependency without it even being that hard. There's also a bunch of research showing that 1 or 2 cups of coffee are actually good for you and can lower the likelihood of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, liver and endometrial cancers, Parkinson's disease, and depression. So yeah, bro, I mean, with the other shit on this list, I think it would be silly for me not to throw it at S tier. But do keep in mind, moderation is always key to what you consume, how you plan your time, how you live your life, everything, bruh. But coffee, S tier, moving. Nicotine. Nicotine is like caffeine's evil brother, cause just like caffeine, nicotine can increase your focus and help you get through your day. Only problem is, unlike caffeine, which I'd say for most people can be a controlled addiction, vaping usually isn't. In fact, a big portion of people who consume this stuff do it to the point of it having the exact opposite effect, making you dizzy and less energized. And just like caffeine, you build up a tolerance pretty fast, making your sin bombs less bomby with each stuffing. The worst part of Nick, though, is always gonna be the fact that most dudes are inhaling aerosol in their lungs to get it in their system, which from that you will experience gross side effects pretty fast, like phlegm in your throat 24/7, loss of lung capacity, and pretty soon anxiety when you can't suck on your vape for a prolonged period of time. But the actual worst part about vaping is that it's fucking lame as shit. And even though in high school it might have made you cool, in the real world being addicted to flavored cancer-infused mists really shows a lot about your character.
Character? What does that even mean?
It means that if you're like really addicted to the point of vaping every day all the time with no plans on quitting, it indicates that you're a mentally weak person, because at that point you sound like a ghoul from Fallout, run out of breath from walking up a flight of stairs, and you're constantly spitting shit from your mouth, aka you've turned into a gremlin, aka you're gonna be treated like a gremlin by people who aren't gremlins. If this is only something I've noticed, then so be it, but if I'm gonna keep it $1.50 with you, every single person I know who is heavily addicted to nicotine is not a very productive / successful person. But hey, that might just be me and my personal experience. So make sure to comment down below if you've noticed something similar or I'm just talking out my ass. We're gonna throw nicotine in E tier just cause, well, crack is on F tier and, well, it's not that bad. Now though, moving on to a more psychedelic world. Mushrooms. I'm not talking about culinary mushrooms or even the ones Mario uses to grow bigger. I'm talking about the mushroom Luigi collects and saves at the beginning levels for when after the game is over to get on Rainbow Road, if you know what I'm saying. Psychedelics overall are not super addictive though, cause if you've ever been on a trip from these things, you know that shit is exhausting as shit. I mean, for real, after my heroic journey, I felt like my brain had gone through a month's worth of thoughts in one 5-hour session, leaving me completely mentally drained. But that doesn't mean mushrooms aren't addictive at all, because although not physically addictive, just like weed, mushrooms can be mentally addictive, cause when you're tripping, you feel like you're in this secret dimension of being, which gives you a sense of belonging and makes you feel special. And that feeling can be addictive, especially if you're not very happy with your current situation in your normal life. They can be used as an escape, kinda like Alice in Wonderland, but unlike more natural escapes like TV shows, video games, and movies, mushrooms leave your brain drained and confused. That's also the reason why if you go to a smart shop in Amsterdam, they always tell you to take at least a 4 to 5 day break in between mushroom trips. Firstly, because of the aforementioned mentally draining effect they have, but also because your body builds up a tolerance extremely fast to psilocybin, the chemical found in magic mushrooms. And if you bang multiple trips in a row, the effect will be much lighter, but also because of that, it'll feel less draining and therefore make it possible to take this stuff daily. And if you do, you can get a bit disassociated from your normal existence and therefore build up a bit of an addiction to mushroom land. All that being said, magic mushrooms are one of the only substances on this list that have been proven to have therapeutic uses, like for example fighting your other addictions. I know from my personal experience when I banked a heroic dose, it made me think a lot about how much I consume things like weed and nicotine, and from that I was able to cut both those things down a bit, especially the nicotine. I also know of people microdosing this stuff and having positive effects, but me personally, I don't really believe that, because if you're taking them every day, you'll eventually start relying on them, and that kind of defeats the whole point of tripping once and carrying what you learn into your normal life, I think. Anyway, all in all, mushrooms gotta be B tier, because when you do get addicted to them, it can drastically mess up your life. It's just kinda hard to get to that point.
Sin, the all-new and improved nicotine device. You see, unlike before with vape companies who sold you a product that was near perfect, Sins are perfect. I mean, just look at Tucker Carlson, who interviewed Putin while going double upper decky, triple lower decky the entire time, and you didn't even notice.
Перестаньте выставлять на показ Zin, передайте мне 2, чтобы я мог как минимум удвоить верхнюю палубу.
But besides that largely unconfirmed dialogue, I mean it when I say Sins are the future of nicotine addiction. And unlike you Americans who might just be hearing about the Zin, me, a veteran snooze-stuffing European, will tell you that this is merely the tip of the iceberg. Because when an American first tries Sin, it usually plays out like this.
So I just put it under my gum?
Yeah, that's called going upper decky, bro.
Alright, if you say so. Okay, so what am I supposed to, what's this? This is the buzz? I'm a bit... I gotta sit down.
Yeah, bro, you just went to upper decky capital. You're gonna be buzzing like a bee. But to me and every other Northern European, the Sin seems like a product that should be sold at the baby aisle at Target. And no, that is in no way to brag. I am ashamed and quite literally making this video to warn you guys. Because all of this pouch stuff seems to be new, so you might not even know about the 5 levels of Sin addiction that will be waiting for you once you get to level 1. It's called Sin, bro. It's not even that bad. You have been introduced to Sin, and hopefully you declined, but most likely you didn't, and now you're experiencing a
buzz unlike you've never had before. Since it's your first sin, this will be what you'll set as a baseline for your addiction in the future, because as we know, the first high is always the craziest. But with sin, the guy who gave you it is probably already muttering something about,
Yeah, bro, it's like the perfect nicotine delivery system. You know, Nick increases your testosterone and boosts your focus. And, you know, sin isn't even that harmful for you, bro.
and well, you just made your first mistake by actively opening the floodgates for these words to penetrate your ear hole and reach the cool part of your brain, which is now telling you,
Bro, it's not right-wing propaganda. Sins are the future, and, you know, it's not even that bad for you, man.
which unfortunately, now bro, you're moving on to level 2. I'm responsible. I'll take the free milligram one, please. Thank you. Free MG? Shit, bro. My first time was a 35 MG, motherfucker. So, you have your own sin and feel inclined to make it an integral part of your personality. So, whenever someone asks, hey, yo, what's that? You will happily give the factory preset AI generated voice line of,
Bro, you haven't heard? This is sin. It's like the future, bro. You wanna try one?
and congratulations, you are now actively participating in the new Juul pandemic and doing exactly what they want you to do. Not just get addicted, get everybody else too. Only problem is, you are slowly starting to realize that going double upper decky, triple lower decky isn't really doing it for you anymore. And there's only so much room in your gums, so now you move on to level 3. I'll take the 6mg one, please, thank you. Welcome to the pinnacle of sin, a true sinhead, a maestro at the upper and lower decky. You must now continue to spread the word of sin, all about slowly realizing your gums are kind of coarse and that every day you go to sleep, your main motivation for the coming morning seems to be,
Oh, can't wait to get that first sin lit, baby.
which once you make it here, you can confidently call yourself a sinhead and find yourself popping them every chance you get. I mean, you wake up, sin, eat breakfast, sin, go to school or work, sin. Sinning has really taken over your life, man. God damn. But regardless, everybody cool is sinning, so it's okay. It's the future, right? Well, here's where you might do a bit more research into the topic and realize nicotine pouches have been around for decades, and that in places like Russia and Sweden, dudes have literally died from sinning, or well, Siberia Pablo extra stronging too hard. Cause you see, 6mg is actually like really light. I mean, in Estonia, the most commonly used product is 35mg. Yeah, almost 12 times stronger than the base model Sin. So you either realize you're on a fucking slippery slope crafted and marketed by big tobacco and stop, or you keep going and find yourself on level 4. You have Velo. You might not specifically get Velo. You have Velo is just a marketing slogan I saw they're running in Poland. Anyway, now you're not really cool anymore. I mean, everybody is sinning and now you're just kind of the guy who took it too far. But I guess you're kind of in my shoes, eh? You feel like you know more than the rest, that sin is for babies. On top of that, you still haven't dealt with your crippling nicotine addiction. If a free MG Sin will get someone who has never done nicotine buzz like a bee, the average Velo will in fact make him vomit and feel sick for 30 minutes. Now for real, like back in the day, a big challenge some degenerate high schoolers in my country used to push to their friends was something like,
Put this 30mg pouch upper decky right now, and if you can manage for 5 minutes, I'll give you $10.
and the outcome was usually the challengee puking and feeling sick in about 1.
Unlike me though, I held a 35mg for 5. And I wasn't even challenged. I'm just born to be a sinner, I guess.
Anyway, there is one more level, which most people probably won't get to because it's kind of getting ridiculous, but level 5, Siberia Max 100mg fucking annihilator. At this point, you might as well just move to Sweden, bro, because the people in the US, man, they just don't get you.
Ah, you're sinning, eh? Try this, it's a bit stronger. Alright, why not? Okay, this is...
Couldn't handle the man shit, eh? Hey, you good, bro?
I'll be on my way then.
After realizing you literally can't exist without Zin, you might want to quit, but it's basically impossible. Well, not impossible, but usually the types of people who go over level 3 are the types of people who say stuff like,
You know, man, I'll quit when I want to.
which means never, or until their doctor says they are literally dying because of it. Unfortunately, the largely unknown health-related side effects have made sinning seem like it can't be that bad. Well, since I'm a certified sinner, I'll walk you through the average day of a a veteran pouch addict. First things first, of course, you gotta wake up, and most civilized people, including me, wait at least till after eating breakfast to go upper decky. Although that doesn't mean there isn't a voice in your head every single day egging you on to sin as soon as your fucking mind becomes conscious. Shit, sometimes I even be seeing that bitch in my sleep, which makes it even more tempting cause now I don't even get a choice in what I think about in the morning. The sin literally won't let me be unaddicted even in my fucking dreams. Talk about free advertising, goddamn. Anyway, once you sin in the morning, your first lit is usually a non-productive one, so you kinda just scroll your phone and chill on the couch. I like to look at the first sin as my only entertainment pouch for the day, and the rest are just kinda there to help me focus and get my shit done. Also, after multiple upper deckies and lower deckies, your decky gets more and more coarse, and the sin less sinny, and at some point you get really tired and realize, oh shit, I gotta eat too, because you can't hold back your hunger with sin forever. Cause eventually your body will be like, I don't know if you've noticed, bro, but we're kind of dying here. And so you get a solid belly full, but not because you were hungry, more like you wanted to go double upper decky, but you knew it would just make you sick with an empty stomach. But sometimes, you see, you feel bad about your sin addiction, so you Google if you should stop and systematically ignore all the cons and just end up focusing on, it's not that bad, bro. For me, what always brings me back is the focusing and relaxation properties of the Zin. When I'm off the stuff, I feel like I need to rest more. And for example, when I broke my back, I didn't sin for like a month cause I was just resting. Now that I'm back at full swing though, every time when my body says, yo bro, let's take a break, I'm like, break, yes of course. You mean double upper decky? No, what I mean, you wanna go crazy tonight. Double upper decky, triple lower decky, shall we? And so I pop it and continue on with whatever the fuck I'm doing. I guess what I'm trying to say is though that sins are bad, like really bad, but not so much because of the health implications. Well, they might be, we just don't know yet. Anyway, once you get into the habit of equating sinning with productivity like I have, it's very, very hard to quit. Because the grind never stops. But does that mean the sin never stops? No, I can't. Yeah, just don't ever do it, bro. You'll be so much better off. And in like 3 years, when everyone realizes that this is just Joule 2.0, you can proudly say, I didn't fall for it.
Vaping versus smoking. Both activities extremely similar to the naked eye, yet in reality, these lung-destroying practices are quite different. The same way smoking za used to be a very niche thing, mostly done by hippies in the 1960s to 1970s, so was vaping in the 2000s to early 2010s. Yet both smoking and vaping slowly but surely took over the world, to where nowadays you'll be walking down the street and see a dude puffing on a strawberry ice guacamole stick on one side, and on the other see a bunch of college kids sitting on a bench eye squinting like they got hit with a flashbang, holding the Teenage Mutant Ninja card screaming, blinker! And although a lot of times a vapor can also be a smoker and the other way around, I'm here to try and figure out which one of these practices is definitively superior to the other. So you can once and for all say to the opposing faction, at least I don't vape, or at least I don't smoke. So let's get started with the first category, and that is the effect. This is probably the most important category because if you're going to damage your lungs and throat by inhaling a foreign substance, it better be at least a fun time. Which I think we can all agree, this is where smoking and vaping are completely different. With vaping, the high you get, if you can even call it that, is a buzz in your body, lightheadedness, bit of an increase to your social battery, and of course a small dopamine boost. But here's the kicker, you only feel this effect like the first couple times you do it, and later mostly only in the morning on your first puffs. So the action of vaping just kind of becomes a mindless habit where you're doing it not for the effect but just because your body is telling you,
hey, it's been like 30 minutes, you should really go and rip that 99 Nick strawberry mango punch.
Whereas the high you get from the grass is actually what you're inhaling it for, and although the effects vary from person to person, they usually consist of better mood, increased appetite aka the munchies, laughter, the increased significance of your thoughts, creativity, laziness, sleepiness, etc. But also these effects are felt for much longer, of about 2 to 4 hours, compared to vaping which is literally like 10 seconds. So if you look at it straight up, then smoking absolutely takes this category with ease. But then again, for people who are prone to getting paranoid and need everything planned out, the high from the za isn't guaranteed to be enjoyable, cause I mean you can just green the fuck out.
Whereas with vaping, you can't really get a bad trip, cause I mean, there is no trip. You're just sitting puffing on your mango stick doing whatever you're doing. But all in all, I'ma still go with the za on this one. So 1-0 smoking. Now let's look at the cost. Whether you want to inhale Chinese sweatshop chemicals that taste like strawberries or the devil's lettuce, it's gonna cost you. But the question is, which one is more expensive at every level of consumption? Well, let's look at it. Level 1 for vapors would be you just buy a dispo every week or so, which comes out to about $20 to $40 a month. And level 1 for smokers, I'd say it's about the same if you just blaze up on the weekends. So far, they're tight on cost, but now if you move up to level 2, which I think for vaping, it now indicates you're addicted and spending anywhere between $80 to $100 on dispos a month. For the za, level 2 would be smoking up once or twice every night at the end of your day, which although you're technically smoking every day, I don't think you'll be spending more than $100 a month. So looks like smoking is edging it out. Well, that's until the next level, where most vapors probably buy themselves a box mod, which is the equivalent of buying a car instead of taking a taxi everywhere. And on the other end, here's where smoking za can get a bit more expensive. At level 3, you blazing 24/7, and you're high not just at the nighttime when you're done with your day, but also when you're going through your day. And because of that, your tolerance has gone up a lot, to the point you having to spend over $200 a month just to continue your za smoking, which don't let it get that far. Please, it's really not worth it. And at level 3 vaping, because you can just get a box mod eco nic machine, your cost ain't really go up that much. Shit, it might have even gone down. So basically, at the higher echelon of being a nic fiend, it's much cheaper than being a 24/7 high stoner. Which would mean vaping wins, right? Well, technically yeah, but to be honest, is it really a good thing you can puff on your lung cancer strawberry ice machine for so cheap? I don't think so, and honestly, I'm kinda happy about how if you smoke up 24/7, your tolerance will evolve to a point you have to drop a bag every month just to keep up with your dependency. That being said, I'ma have to leave it at a tie here. 2-1 smoking grass. Now it's time for addictiveness. I think this one's a no-brainer. Nicotine is obviously more addictive, right? Well, yeah, but there are some more aspects to this comparison, like the fact even if you're completely addicted to nic, you can go about your everyday life just the same, cause it doesn't make you slower mentally, nor lazy, nor paranoid. It's just slowly but surely giving you lung cancer. But with za, if you really start abusing that shit, it'll affect your everyday life, cause it can lower motivation, make you less driven, slower mentally, and hazy. But all of that is only if you let yourself get that far, which is much harder than with nic. Cause the za is just less addictive than the mango stick, meaning with vaping it can literally take just one puff to get you hooked, but with the za it's more like an experience. So although you might have a great time your first high, you won't be in the school bathrooms the next day like,
Yo, you think you can give me a couple puffs off that? Haven't did anything in hours. Really? Give me that!
okay, it's not that bad, but be wary. Nicotine fiends, they'll do anything for a puff off that elf bar. For real. Anyway, this point goes to the grass yet again because of its much less addictive nature. 3-1 smoking. But maybe this next category will ignite a comeback for vaping. Availability. Nic sticks are sold everywhere, from gas stations to smoke shops to some grocery stores. And on the other hand, the Zaza, if you're in the United States, where let's be honest, you probably are, you can get them at dispensaries or your local Pablo Escobar, the plug. Which unfortunately, dispensaries are more of a luxury that only legal state citizens in the US are afforded, and for the rest of us, we have to deal with the lawless, sometimes sleazy creatures called plugs. I mean, for real, why the fuck do I, a law-abiding citizen, have to deal with criminals on a weekly basis just because I wanna relax and eat some double-stuffed Oreos on a Friday night? But if I wanna get shit-faced drunk and go outside with the homies committing 3 counts of disrupting the peace, 4 counts of destruction of public property, and 58 counts of,
Yo, what's that guy looking at? He got a problem?
then that's Totally fine. So I think we can all agree vaping takes this one. Free too. Now time for a category which will either tie it up or secure the major take W for smoking. And that is the community. Vape Nation versus yeah man. Or at least that's the stereotype. In reality, it ain't really like that. Although from my experience, vapors are more extroverted because they're always vaping in a circle in the damn bathroom chit-chatting about their flavors. And smokers are more introverted and chill, who would rather sit down and play some modded Minecraft with the homies than go to the club. Oh, and if you're looking for a place where you can find more people like that, then why not join the CBDBro Discord? We also just hit 5k members, so join the revolution, the weed revolution. Anyway, this could be biased because I'm a smoker myself, but I personally think the Zaza community is better than the vaping. Although I really don't like grass NPCs who make the Za their whole personality, these dudes are pretty easily spottable and avoidable. But I mean, vapors got the same thing. Imagine standing in a circle, everybody puffing on their dispo, and then some dude pulls out the Vaporizer Ultra 3000i Max fully equipped with 8 flavors, a touchscreen, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth capability. I think the exact same thing that I do with grass NPCs. That's a bit too much, man. Anyway, 4-2. Smoking wins. Reasons to get high. Now, before you call me a weed propagandist, this video isn't gonna be on some number 15. You woke up in the morning, or afternoon, or evening. Fuck it, you're awake. Time to get obliterated. Instead, we are going to be looking at actual solid reasons and situations you'll find yourself in which getting high will allow you to get and enjoy the full relaxed and faded effect of the za. Because believe it or not, depending on your mindset, where you are, and when you do it, it has a massive effect on if the high will have you laughing and chuckling or tweaking and suffering. Anyway, let's get it started with the most common good reason to get faded, and that is you've had a great productive day and are ready to relax and unwind. I know this one might seem obvious to some, but believe me, it's not for a lot of people, cause as we know, the biggest debuff a lot of daily smokers experience is something called za anxiety, which is like normal anxiety, but it just finished its training arc with King Kai and went Kaioken times 10 on your ass. And if you watch some of my other videos, you'd know that weed is just an amplifier of your already existing thoughts and feelings. So if you smoke up at a time where you got a bunch of unfinished business, the za has a very high chance of making you anxious, kinda like when legit loses his vape.
Yo, bro, this shit's an emergency. You see my vape? I know that bitch is here somewhere.
Nah, sorry bro, I haven't seen it.
You straight. Just give me a couple hits off yours, we're good.
I would, but I don't have one anymore. I quit a couple weeks back.
My f***ing ass you did, bro. I don't care if that shit's burnt, just let me take a hit off that bitch.
Nah bro, I swear, I've been off it for a while now. It was tough, but...
Man, where's my vape at, bro?
Hey, what you doing, bro?
I know your ass has a vape. Trying to hide that from me. Empty your pockets, buddy.
Basically, all the unfinished business you have has a very high chance of turning into anxiety once you smoke that doozy. And the whole point of getting lit is to chill out and relax, not stress over your shit that you should have finished before lighting up, brah. Keep in mind though, this usually only happens to people who actually have goals in life and something to be anxious about. So if you've never got an anxiety like this and smoke regularly, then either you only ever blaze up at the perfect time, or might wanna, you know, maybe sell the PS5 and put down the Doritos for a while. Anyway, next reason is you're MIA, aka sick or injured for a while. Man, do I hate being hobbled to the point I turn into a couch potato and have to endure the torture watching my friends go on adventures from afar like I was Professor X watching my X-Men have all the fun. But there is a secret upside to this as well, cause you see, usually you can't smoke up all day while doing the bare minimum and expect to actually enjoy your high because of the aforementioned za anxiety that accompanies it. But when you've been forcefully demoted to local crippled man and the world along with your doctor is telling you to take a chill for a while, an opportunity comparable only to a childhood sick day emerges. Watch YouTube, play video games, and overall be a useless sack of potatoes, all while not feeling bad about it and staying heavily heavily medicated. Cause I don't know about you, but in a situation where there is nothing to keep me sane except video games, movies, and my phone, why would I not be blasted 24/7? And the best part about it is, if you're dealing with a nasty injury like I have for the past 2 weeks, the Zaza can be used as a substitute for the damn opioid drugs these motherfucking doctors be prescribing you for the pain. I broke my pelvis and one of my vertebrae, and I was prescribed codeine. Yeah, the thing SoundCloud rappers be sipping, along with some other hardcore meds. So since I know popping pills all day for 2 weeks can't be much worse than smoking weed, I just chose the one that also makes being crippled a bit more enjoyable. But you know, obviously I'm not a doctor, so don't be just listening to what I say. Every injury is different, and what worked for me might not for you. Anyway, next reason. You're hanging out with friends and don't want to drink and be hungover the next day. Would you believe me if I told you smoking weed is actually enjoyable at parties? I think some of you would, but the majority probably wouldn't, and there's a couple reasons for that. A big one that you gotta fix yourself would be that you get anxious when you're high around new people, but the other one I've heard countless times is that being high just makes me want to sit on the couch the whole time. And that can be true, but all you gotta do for that is fight the urge to be lazy, because I'm telling you from personal experience, one of the funnest high activities by far is blazing up with a friend at a party where everybody else is hammered. I just can't help but notice that everybody drunk turns into NPCs. I be sitting on the couch with the homie Salamander watching all these dudes doing their free assigned activities on some Pal World shit. I know this might make me look like a dick, but there's one time we got high at this house party and chose this one alpha chat guy to just observe, and I kid you not, dude was like a Terraria villager, rotating between slamming shots with his friends, trying to spit game to the hoes, and comparing dick sizes with other dudes.
Ugh, that was some strong stuff.
Damn. Hey, yo guys, check out the Rizzler. Hey, what's up, beautiful? Having fun? Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to find my friend, bye.
Okay.
Hey, Tony! Let's arm wrestle. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not like doing those free things is unfun. All I'm trying to say is that when you're high, you realize the ridiculousness of what a party actually is and can just observe it with your high friend and banter away. But there is a reason that trumps all others, a situation where it's near impossible to not get the full enjoyment of the gas. The best bang for buck you're gonna get when you trade a small percentage of your lung capacity and cardiovascular health for the fade. And that's, of course, you have the CBD bro. Okay, it's actually, you plan the smoke sesh ahead for a completely free day. I think some of you might have expected something a bit more extravagant, a bit more, I don't know, eye-opening. But no, unfortunately, there is no magic.
Number 1. Your homie discovered a crashed alien ship from which gained the knowledge of the universe and some otherworldly gas. Time to get absolutely shreked.
Cause I hate to break it to you, but if your homie ever tells you something like that, the universal knowledge is probably just the mushrooms he ate, and that otherworldly gas is referring to the moon rock he bought at the dispensary. And going and smoking with that friend, however much you like him, probably isn't a good reason, especially cause it's a Tuesday morning and, you know, you should probably go to work and maybe set up an intervention for him. Mans doesn't seem to be in a good place. Anyway, overusing psychedelics and ruining your life aside, the best reason to get high, in my opinion, is when you plan it ahead and have a mega sesh with your homies. This one is basically the same as the first reason, but even better because it combines both banter with your friends and the lowest chance of anxiety because the fade is planned ahead. Therefore, your brain already scheduled a server maintenance for that time, allowing you to drop IQ points without worrying about a situation arising where you need them. And it really is hard to beat lighting one up with the people you enjoy talking and listening to, cause although technically getting high will never be the best move you can make to achieve your goals and shit, if you smoke up for reasons such as listed in this video, I promise you, aside from the health implications it might have, the za won't affect your life negatively, but rather give you a break from your daily grind and make you slow down a bit to appreciate everything you have. Running out of za. Man, I swear, this phenomenon is always so unexpected. Like, I don't know why, but for some reason, however long I plan ahead and try to time my grass running out, it always comes kicking in like the damn Kool-Aid man. I'll be out here the night before looking at the bottom of my grinder like,
Okay, I guess I gotta buy some more tomorrow.
And then when the next day comes, I'll be all flabbergasted like, oh boy, nothing better than some good old za at the end of the
Day.
What? This can't be. How have I ran out of za? I literally just had some
Yeah, shit.
And now that you realize that you out of grass, you got three options. You either accept your fate and just go on with your night, hit up your plug and get ready to lose out on your hard-earned money, or the legendary special down bad method I often do, empty out all your grinders, search through all your pockets, and scrape together one last hit so you can delay the buying of the za for one more day. But although I do this quite often, I don't recommend it, cause I swear, those scrape together hits are always some 20% plastic, 20% dust, 20% dirt smack dabbly doos. So every time I do hit that awful abomination of a bowl, it'll have me all paranoid about what the f did I just smoke like? Man, why that smell like burning plastic? Why am I not even high? Bro, why am I so lightheaded? Mom, I think I'm dying. So basically what I'm saying is, scraping together hits from basically nothing isn't really the healthiest move you can make. But shit, hitting up the plug at the end of the day is a struggle in its own right. Cause I don't know why these damn plugs are always unavailable when you need them the most. Like Mr. Invisible could be spamming me all day with Snapchats like... But then later, when you hit man's up asking for some za, he disappears like the Avatar. Doesn't even open your messages. These plugs really don't care about us for real, man. Speaking of which, that reminds me of this one time when we ran out and had to travel through the whole of the ghetto version of Narnia just to get some za. It was just a normal day, well, night, where me, Salamander, and Ricky had planned to smoke some grass and just chill. And of course, Salamander, being the ultra reliable photographic memory dude he is, informed us that he def has enough grass for us all to enjoy at his place. So me and Ricky pull up, excited as you can be, only to arrive at the house and be informed, yo, what's good? Are you ready to get absolutely schmacked?
She, of course, Phil, but what?
Yeah, I just checked my room and, well, it turns out I don't have any grass. What do you mean you have no grass? You said you had a ton, bro. Yeah, I mean I did, but I kinda smoked it all. Man, what the... Why you gotta do us like that, bro? You got us all hyped for this, and now we're here in your mansion and you're telling us there's no grass? Like bro, I'm finna cry for real, man.
Yeah, bro, you're right. I'm sorry. I messed up.
But don't worry. I already hit up Jimmy the Plug God. We can drive there now.
Okay, sure. Let's go.
So we go into Salamander's parents' car, which was sleek AF, and quite literally went to the bad part of town with it, feeling like some mafia bosses, for real. But once we arrived at Jimmy the Plug God's house, he was nowhere to be seen. And well, turns out, dude hadn't even texted Salamander back. He just had us come here in hopes that the time we arrived, he would. As we were sitting in the car, waiting for a good 15 minutes at that point, Salamander tells us the dude's probably isn't gonna respond. But he already wrote another plug and he def gonna hook us up. So we drive to a new place where this time the plug was actually waiting for us. So we hopped out the car and walked towards him. Yo, what's good, bruh?
Yo, what's up?
So, do you got that Zaza?
Of course, yeah. Here it is.
Bro, is that 2 G's like I asked?
Yeah, it's just compact, you know, like a dime.
Bro, fuck off. If that's 2 G's, then prove it. What are you waiting for? Put it on the scale.
Nah, bro, I don't sell to people who don't trust me. Disrespectful AF.
Nah, bruh, disrespectful is trying to show the long-term customer in his hour of need. Keep your diamond to yourself, big dog. We outta here.
Yeah, whatever. See.
As our hopes were dwindling, we were in Salamander's car about to call it quits when the only plug that was exclusive to me and nobody else knew of finally responded to my message saying to meet up and that he got the za. So we go to yet another location in hopes that finally we would get our now well-deserved bag of grass. And once we arrived at the meetup spot, which was a pizza restaurant by the way, we parked the car and text Mr. Invisible that we're outside waiting for him. A good 10 minutes goes by with no response, so the overall mood is starting to get pretty gloomy, as we quite literally have just driven around for hours trying to secure just a smidgen of za. And although we were truly experiencing a Gen Z 21st century Great Depression, we were saved with the text,
Oh, he responded. Oh, snap. What'd he say, bro?
He said, yeah, coming out now.
Nice.
And this time, he actually did. Dudes came out with an apron, chef's hat, and the long-awaited bag. So we went there, and thankfully, it was actually 2 G's, not a diamond. And man, I ain't never been so glad for just a smidgen of za in my life, but can you blame me? I mean, this was a full-on journey, and although the time was like 11 p.m. at this point, we weren't too discouraged as we thought, screw it, let's pull an all-nighter, baby. So finally, after hours of waiting and talking to incompetent plugs, we arrived back at the mansion and did what we came there to do. Smoke a shit ton of grass, eat an unholy amount of munch, and wake up the next day feeling more hazy than a foggy morning. Which the highlight of the night was definitely when Salamander said he was gonna bake some magic cookies, but since we were already f***ed AF, dudes left them in the oven for like 3 hours. And then finally, when we had that oh shit, the cookies moment, we went there and found them completely burnt. But you know, we still ate them, and well, they kinda worked, I think. I don't know. We were so blasted, we probably could have eaten some damn Oreos and thought ourselves more high because of it. So all in all, running out of za is for some reason always so unexpected, but I've learned to enjoy the journey as much as the destination. And although at the time driving around searching for grass was annoying AF, looking back at it, it was actually pretty fun. And the night was definitely more memorable because of it. Types of people you should never blaze with. If you've ever smoked with friends, you know being high with others can be a great time, and in a lot of ways much more fun than being high alone. But it can also be awful and cause za anxiety if you're with the wrong group. So today we're gonna go over types of people you should never smoke up with, starting with the over smoker. The over smoker is someone who wants to hit that Benjamin way too much. Now don't get me wrong, I got nothing against a good old limit breaker sesh, but if you're the over smoker, you never actually doing that. Cause your tolerance is so high, even if you grab the beehive-sized chunk of wax and dab the whole thing, you still stand there like, phew, I think I feel something. Another reason I really don't like blazing with these dudes is cause you can't ever really dive into a topic and enjoy the high, cause every 10 minutes you hear that,
hey, let's do another hit.
like, what you mean, dog? We just did 3 hits in 30 minutes. I'm halfway fused with the couch, and your homie is in the corner explaining how the government controls us with tap water. We don't need another hit, bro. One positive this guy has, I guess, though, is he is always equipped with a ridiculous amount of za. Dudes must get his shit from the same guy Gordon Ramsay was hitting up, cause it's always some damn exotic. Even so, their vibe ain't really one I fuck with, so if you're this guy, I'ma respectfully advise you to maybe consider taking a tea break or some, cause their diff is a point where it's too much. Unlike the next guy, who doesn't even need any side to be annoying, and he is Mr. Paranoid. I think we've all gotten paranoid from the grass before, and that ain't nothing to be ashamed of, cause sometimes there really ain't nothing you can do. But the occasional paranoid episode ain't what this guy has. This dude, even before taking a rip, is talking about some, hey yo, you sure this ain't lace, right?
No, what? This is the same stuff as last time, bro.
Okay, that's good. Can you check if there's any cops around?
Bro, there's no cops. We're in the fucking woods.
Yeah, okay, but wait, before we smoke, let me check if this place is haunted.
Man, what is this guy on?
Like, bro, what do you mean haunted? This ain't Conjuring, bro. Why you always trying to set a negative vibe for everyone? But however much you assure my mans that no, it's okay, we're not about to be swatted on some Twitch streamer shit, his mind just can't seem to get over it. And worst part is, dude never tries to deal with his paranoid problems on his own. You can all be having a fun time talking about some GTA 6 leaks or something, and he'll just ruin it all with,
hey, yo, guys. You hear that?
hear what?
Bro, I swear, I just heard someone walking outside.
So? It's a neighborhood. That's what people do.
Yeah, but the window's open. He could have saw us all high.
Yeah, but it ain't like you're gonna call the cops.
Cops? There's cops?
What? No, chill, man. There's no cops.
Nah, bro. I think I'm greening out. I need some fresh air or something.
Bro just decides, yup, I'm greening out now. Like, no, your personality is just very insecure, and you should probably get that figured out before you take another smack dabbly do off that Benjamin. Anyway, this guy ain't no fun to blaze with, cause he's very prone to ruining the vibe, so avoid at all costs. But this next guy is more of a personal preference, so you might disagree with me, but for a guy I don't like getting high with it, the grass NPC. I think we've all met one of these, whether you knew it at the time or not. This is the type of dude who lives, breathes, and of course, smokes grass. I mean, really, dudes physically can't talk about anything else for more than a minute, cause he has no goals or aspirations that stretch further than, I wanna get suited AF. Which, wanting to get suited ain't nothing bad. I mean, most of us here probably love bacon, but come on, bro, at some point you gotta think about your life, your future, or I don't know, just something else than grass. Why I personally don't like hanging with a dude like this is cause his stories always are so centered around how high he was. I mean, bro, I get it, you went to school high. Like, at some point after hearing about the 78th time of dudes being high in class, you start to notice that man's actually has nothing interesting to say except,
Yeah, I was so gone when I was in math class. Yeah, bro, we went to the zoo and I was not on planet Earth.
like, bro, when are you ever on planet Earth? And I find it hard to believe this guy, cause if you blazing so much, do you even feel high anymore? Like, don't you just get used to the feeling and it becomes normal? Anyway, don't be this guy. He ain't making it past level 1 of life, for real. Unless he like starts his own dispensary or something. Then it could work out very nicely, actually. But the next type of dude on the list is the guy that wants to be taken way too serious. I don't know if you guys ever talked to someone like this, but I have a couple times, and it's annoying AF. You know how when you blaze, you tend to go on rants and halfway lose your train of thought and then just end up saying, shit, I don't know what I'm talking about. And everyone laughs and moves on? Well, this dude is incapable of doing that. Instead, he holds the conversation hostage with his ramblings about inflation, Biden, Oprah, and James Cameron. And if you start trying to move on and talk about something else, dude sits there not listening and then 3 minutes later hits everyone with the,
Okay, so basically what I was trying to explain earlier was,
like, bro, we already moved on and we're all freaking baked. No one even remembers their last sentence. How you gonna start expanding on your thoughts from ages ago like the MCU or something? Worst part is, however much you try to politely show him to stop ranting, he never gets the signs, it just keeps doing it. Best thing you can do is just not invite him to the sesh, and you don't have to feel like a dick about it either, cause I'm 100% sure he understands the signs, but just ignores him cause he thinks his thoughts are more important than whatever the group wants to talk about. But the next dude on the list has a bit of a different problem, and he is Mr. I'm bored, I wanna do something. Oh snap, the guy who is somehow always bored and wants to do something. Now, don't get me wrong, I love high adventures and I'm always down to go on one, but only if there's actually something cool in mind. Yeah, this is something this dude and me don't have in common, cause this mofo just spams the sentence,
I'm bored, let's go somewhere.
Like, bro, where somewhere? Say where. My man just assumes anywhere is better than where he is, and honestly, that gets annoying fast, cause it makes you all self-conscious about if you're bored or not. And honestly, a lot of times you might be, but that's just life. The grass ain't a freaking happy pill. Sometimes you're gonna smoke up and still feel bored. But how is that gonna change if we go outside? It's not like we living in Skyrim, bro. However sad it may be, you ain't finna open the door and see a mysterious bearded man waiting for you with a scroll in his hand saying,
Adventurer, we need you.
But hey, out of everybody on the list, I think this guy's the least bad, cause a lot of times the ZA makes mofos lazy AF, so it is good to have someone who can push the group into doing stuff. Just sometimes my man needs to chill out. Talking about,
Let's go to McDonald's, let's go to Burger King, let's go shh.
let's just shut the fuck up. Okay. Although sometimes dude actually does have something in mind, which turns out to be pretty fun. So there ain't nothing bad with wanting to do something cool, just you don't have to parade the fact you're bored all the time, cause just by saying that, everybody is gonna feel like that even more.
Have you ever met someone who parades the fact that he loves the Zaza, and if you ever say anything bad about it, he gets all defensive and starts frantically arguing about how it's good for you? Like, yeah bro, there are health benefits, but if you're out here doing 8 rips, 4 2 edibles, and half a cart every 12 hours, do you really think you're reaping the health benefits of the Za? Mofo beyond about,
it helps with my anxiety and depression.
like bro, what are you anxious about? Worried that the pizza delivery guy might be an assassin? Sounds more like paranoia to me. And have you stopped to think that maybe the depression you're feeling could be because all you does is sit around, eat pizzas, smoke grass, and watch Disney Plus? But people like this aren't the majority, and overall, when you meet a fellow grass eater, you can expect him to be just a normal chill dude who uses the Za to enhance his experiences, rather than rely on it for them. So today, I thought I'd go over some of the coolest dudes I've encountered who consume that lettuce, starting with the Za athlete.
This the guy who's always in the gym grinding to become the ultimate specimen of human movement. The thing that's great about this dude is that although he loves the grass, which is generally considered a lazy substance, he doesn't let that stereotype stop him from enjoying it. Although many of his athlete friends might hold it against him, calling him a crackhead, he knows that it's all about moderation and using the za to enhance his recovery and free time experiences. But the best part about a dude like this is that you know he is a solid guy, that you don't have to worry about leading you down a bad road, cause he is always mindful of where the breaking point between just having a fun time with the homies and
Hey bros, wanna do some
is. So if you're friends with this guy, you can be damn sure he won't ever peer pressure you into doing something stupid. In fact, he'll probably be the one who will try to talk you out of something like that. Plus, you know, depending on the athlete, he might make the NBA, so best to stay on his good side if you ever want to blaze up in a LA mansion with Wiz Khalifa and Drake and shit. But on to the next dude on the list, the high gamer. I'm not sure how you guys feel about video games, but I've always seen the genre as the highest form of at-home entertainment there is. Although it is a lot harder to truly get into a game nowadays, when you do, the peaks of fun are much higher than watching a Netflix show, for example. Although that's just my opinion and yours might obviously be different. So you better believe it when I say I love dudes who enjoy gaming in orbit, because that's something that two za enjoyers can truly bond over. Now you might be thinking,
everybody enjoys playing games. Ain't nothing special about it.
I'd have to respectfully disagree, because it takes a certain level of power to really sit down whilst blasted and focused on a video game, cause honestly, most of the time it ends up going something like this. Finally time to play some Elden Ring whilst blasted. This is about to be crazy fun.
20 minutes later.
Man, screw this, I'm gonna just watch some TikToks. As you can see, it's not that easy, but if you have a friend who's on the same planet as you and you going through the struggle together in a co-op game, it's much easier to get into. So I for one will always have a special place in my heart for dudes who can actually game while blasted, cause honestly, it's not as easy as you might think, especially if the session lasts over 1 hour. But time for the productive and successful Not gonna lie, these dudes are like a rare Pokemon that you might never come across because the requirements to be a dude like this are rather high, but the power he possesses is godly. This is the dude that has his own business or works like a sales job or something, which is a highly social and time-consuming practice. But somehow this mofo has done all of this while frequently bugging off the Zaza. He's kinda like the Wolf of Wall Street, but instead of doing lines off a lady's you know what I mean. He's out here taking a fat rip and then minutes later closing a massive deal with some company. I met a guy like this only once, and I won't stand here and act like I was not in awe of this man's power. We were all just chilling, faded AF, when this guy got a phone call, and not just any phone call, it was some company he was trying to make a client for the company he worked for. And me being me, all I could think of was, oh shit, dude must be freaking out being that faded, having to deal with something like that. But no, bro calmly told us he'll be back in like 10 minutes, went to the other room and closed the deal, or at least that's what it seemed like. I swear, some people just have a godlike stress tolerance, cause man, I can be out here faded and get a call from my mom to pick up some groceries, and that shit will have me stressing out if it wasn't in my initial plan. I guess what I'm trying to say is, for 95% of people, if you high every day, you're gonna get lazy and content with your position in life. But there are people who can manage to pull off this lifestyle and still be successful, and god damn do I respect that. Although I'd imagine that if they weren't high all the time, they'd be even more successful. But hey, what do I know? Anyway, next guy on the list is the artsy dude. Now, this guy isn't exactly what you're thinking. And yes, I know you're imagining this painter who's always on about, bruh, you just gotta go with the flow. Let yourself be free and you'll find peace. Sorry, but what the fuck does that even mean? Although these guys can be cool, their gimmick gets old pretty quick. The dude I like is more of just a Chad who has a highly functioning imagination. Cause with a guy like this, you always have something to talk about, and they come up with some of the most interesting things. Plus, they're usually not just some hippie dude who enjoys saying shit that makes no sense and expects everybody to think he's deep cause he saw a quote on TikTok and it really resonated with him. He's more of the dude who'll say some master Oogway quote and explain how that funny meme actually says something deep about life, but then ended with,
I don't actually know, I might just be too high. And I love that, cause sometimes a mofo is just too high and sees a deeper meaning in something that doesn't have one. But hey, that's just a theory, a high theory. Greening out or getting too high is the worst thing that can happen when inhaling that freshly cut grass. If you have a sudden emergency or miscalculate the size of the portion, things can turn south real quick. One moment, you're chilling in your room having the time of your life playing Minecraft or some shit. Next thing you know, the green forcefully teleports your brain into a realm filled with the demons of your nightmares. And once the grass pushes you over that border, it ain't no easy task to get back to Yodi land. But not to worry, for D who masters the green out, masters the universe. Okay, well that's kind of an overstatement, but nah, for real, if you want to learn how to never green out again, then you're in the right place. Cause being that I do have a PhD in spliff rolling, a master's degree in avoiding bad trips, and a bachelor's in high thoughts, I am more than qualified to teach you the ways of the Za. First things first, what are the symptoms of feeling too high? Well, the Cambridge Dictionary describes greening out as greening out is a term described as being so goddamn high that you start tweaking like a schizophrenic that hasn't taken his pills for a week. The symptoms of this state include dry mouth, anxiety, paranoia, thinking of that one time you should have done that one thing a little bit differently, etc. As we can see, greening out is obviously not a pleasurable experience, and to know how to counteract this phenomenon, we must analyze the 3 main types of greenouts. Number 1. The pure Kush coma greenout. Starting with the good old Kush coma. Being one of the most commonly occurring greenouts, it can be caused by many factors like overestimating your tolerance, smoking an unexpectedly strong strain, or the one I have seen the most, not correctly gauging the situation and how much fatedness it requires/allows. So let's say you're gonna be going over to a small little function with a couple of your buddies. Now, if the goal of said function isn't to all unifiedly test the boundaries of high, then I wouldn't recommend hogging the spliff in the rotation for too long, cause you best believe when everyone is chatting and having a good time and you're just laying on the couch like a sloth, you'll be wishing that you were a little bit more generous in the prior rotation. Plus, the guy who falls asleep first is always the one who gets clowned on, so you probably don't want to be him. And if you've never been in a Kush coma, I think a quote from one of the most beautiful works of artistic creation in the 21st century sums it up best. It's the blunt after blunt rotation. Now I'm in a Kush coma off the OG aroma, and my brain going on vacation. Kush coma, Kush coma. I am in a Kush coma. Beautiful. Anyway, let's move on to the second type of greenout, which is number 2, the random anxiety greenout. Now, this is the traditional paranoid greenout. It can be triggered pretty much whenever. I mean, really, sometimes the green holy plant just feels like messing with you and decides to do something like this. Oh boy, I'm excited. Can't wait to just lay down and have a good old time.
A few moments later.
Hey, remember that cursed movie you watched as a kid? Yeah, that was stupid. Yeah, it was. But you're enjoying this Zaza too much lately, so I'm just gonna make your brain think that it was real, so you get real spooked and can't sleep all night. That cool? What? No! Okay, bye. So, as you can see, these are kind of the worst, as there's no real counter for when the grass decides to screw with you. The only thing that can at least help prevent this from happening is your experience as a blazer, cause at some point, you get used to the occasional mind tricks of the Za. Anyway, let's move on to the last and rarest one. Number 3, the situational greenout. Even though this one doesn't happen often because most people who decide to get faded into Universe 7 plan out a safe area where they can enjoy the grass in comfort. All that being said, however well you plan, there is always the chance of an urgent mission popping up. And I mean, what can you really do when, I don't know, your homie's about to be jumped by a ragtag bunch of 13-year-old UK roadmen? The only correct answer is you gotta get your baked ass up from that couch you've melded with, pull up on the situation, and handle it like a man. Could you guys stop calling my friend the waste man, whatever that means? Man, shut up, blood, before you get chinged by the mandem, plotty waste man in it. What? I'm not a waste man, okay? And I can see we're not getting anywhere, so I'm gonna go now. Ching him up. Okay, well, you're probably not gonna be in situations exactly like that, but you get what I mean.
Now that we've learned about all the types of green outs, how do we counteract them? Well, if I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't have that master's degree in avoiding bad trips, although the spliff rolling one was not a lie, and therefore I did nothing wrong. By Prime Energy. But it's rather simple. To avoid the Kush coma, don't smoke as much Kush. The anxiety green out can easily be avoided with basic strategies, so if you're going to a place filled with new people, it's probably not the best idea to hit that double Benjamin. And the last one, well, can't do nothing about that. Just hope you don't get chinged, I guess. Drinking versus smoking. Both activities resulting in an altered state of mind, but that's really about where the similarities end, because as we know, in many ways, the effects of these substances are basically exact opposites. So if you put a drunk man and a high man in the same situation, for example walking down a busy street, the high man will most likely keep his head down, avoiding eye contact, observing his surroundings, and minding his own business, all while being as low-key as possible. While the drunk man, on the other hand, will probably make eye contact with everyone, all while stumbling around, bumping into trash cans and shit, while having zero idea where he is or where he is even going. Obviously, it also depends on the person and how they react to the effects of these substances. But hey, that's what we're here for, to discover the positives and negatives of both and try to make an unbiased decision on which of these substances is better. And we obviously gotta start with the most important category, and that is the effect. You ever seen a dude faded beyond belief, hanging out and having a fun time with a dude that's drunk as fuck? The answer is probably no, because as I said earlier, the personalities of the two substances just don't mix very well. Being high is a combination of overanalyzing every thought you have and really going deep into your inner 10-year-old, which means laughing uncontrollably at a TikTok your homie sent you one moment and then the next remembering that we're all really just chunks of matter roaming an endlessly expanding universe without no clear purpose except enjoying your time alive. Ooh, funny cat video. And being drunk is the exact opposite in the way that instead of overanalyzing your decisions, you don't think about them at all.
Shit, you're telling me if I did a backflip off that table right now, I'd impress all the hoes? Yeah, probably. You know how to do a backflip though? Just watch.
Hey everybody, check this shit out.
Shit. Bro, I thought you said you know how to do a backflip. I never said I knew how to. I just thought I'd pull it off somehow.
Basically, being drunk makes you overconfident, unaware of your surroundings, numb social anxiety, and overall just makes you very spontaneous in your actions. But don't get me wrong, that's not always a bad thing per se, cause being drunk is fun as fuck. To be honest, in most social situations, it's probably gonna be way more enjoyable than being high. Just the way I see it, alcohol numbs your senses and worries, while makes you more aware of them. So although in the long term, smoking grass is probably less harmful to your overall life, that's not what we're comparing here. So a bit of a controversial take maybe, but alcohol wins this category 1-0 booze. But now let's look at the thing that comes a couple hours after the effect. And that's the after effect / hangover. Not gonna dwell on this subject for too long, as I think we all know where this is going. If you get shit-faced drunk on Friday, you're gonna be fighting the urge to yourself on Saturday. Oh, okay, that might be a bit of an over-exaggeration, but it's low-key true. Because you see, ethanol, aka alcohol, is literally poison, and when you drink too much of it, you're gonna feel like you've been poisoned. Like shit, who would've thought? And with weed, of course, there is no hangover whatsoever. Well, not really, cause if you ever gotten absolutely annihilated to the point your body switches to autopilot before, then you know after waking up the next day, there is a high possibility you'll experience low energy, haziness, brain fog, and worst of all, the desire to get schmacked again in the morning so you can binge watch season 1 of SpongeBob and ignore all your goals and aspirations. But that is a lot better than feeling so awful that you become a devoted Christian overnight and start begging God for mercy.
My head hurts so bad. I know I haven't reached out in a while, God, but please end this suffering, and I promise I'll never drink again.
Hey bro, wanna go to Lucy's place today? Everybody's coming. It's supposed to be a crazy party. Yeah, let's go. So even though the grass isn't the miracle plant some people believe it to be, I'd still say it's the clear winner in this category. 1-1 all tied up. Now let's look at cost. In the previous comparison of weed versus nicotine, I went through all the levels of consumption to figure out which one is cheaper, but with this one, comparing just the cost of the booze versus the Zaza isn't gonna cut it. Because you see, on a night out where you get wasted, I'd say maybe like 20% of the actual money spent is gonna be on alcohol you yourself consumed, with the rest going to entry fees into clubs, buying shots for them hoes, expressing your love to the homies by buying them drinks, and other stupid shit people tend to do when drunk. Also, unless you're a straight up bum or functioning alcoholic, you're not gonna be drunk every day. Instead, if you love drinking and partying, you'll be drunk every weekend. Or the other possibility is, of course, you drink a couple beers every night at the end of your day, which the best way to tell if you fall into this category is go look in the mirror, and if you have a dad bod, then yeah, you're probably in it. With smoking though, your primary cost is gonna be in the weed itself, ranging anywhere from $40 a month if you only blaze on the weekends with your homies, all the way up to like $500 a month if you're getting high every day. Which this category is quite hard for me to pick a clear winner because it really just depends on your personality and self-control when drunk, so I'ma leave it at a tie. I'm sorry, it's the only way to be fair. 2-2, we're still tied. Now time for addictiveness. I think the best way to answer this question is by looking at what these substances do to you, starting with alcohol. The saying, drink away the pain, exists for a reason. Alcohol is a numbing agent. It numbs your senses, numbs your brain, numbs your body, and it numbs the pain. Basically meaning you can drink away your problems for the night, which if that isn't enough of a red flag, it also has some pretty major withdrawal symptoms if you decide to stop being an alcoholic one day. And although with there can also be withdrawal symptoms, it's a bit harder to get that far, and from what I've digged up, they're not as hard to overcome. Although, take that with a grain of salt because the research on this field isn't super conclusive yet. But if alcohol is a numbing agent, then what is the ganja? Glad you asked. In my opinion, the Zaza is an amplifier, so if you're sad and dealing with some serious emotional damage and then smoke a doozy, you're gonna be even more sad, and the emotional damage will feel much worse. Obviously, if you get so blasted you switch to manual breathing, it can also numb the pain to some regard, but that's only because your brain puts your trauma aside to focus on surviving the high, and it's not like it's always gonna do that. It might actually just make you focus on your misery even more. That being said, I'ma give this point to the Zaza, because although saying isn't addictive is false, it is still less so than alcohol. So 3-2, the grass is finally winning, but maybe this next category will tie it back up. Variety. By this I mean the variations of said effects. So with weed, there are different strains that give different effects. And of course with different sorts of alcohol, it's the same thing. Wrong! Or shit, at least I have not once in my life drank some grade A distilled gin and been like, yeah, this is definitely more of a mellow drunkenness. It just doesn't happen. Alcohol is alcohol, unless it's tequila. We don't talk about tequila. Anyway, with weed, the variation is very extensive. You have your obvious CBD and but also nowadays derivatives like THC, HHC, and so on. And it goes even further with indica and from there the strain, and from there the percentage, so variety is definitely not an issue. Oh, and I better not see no comments about, you obviously never drank wine before. It's been proven that these professional wine testers are just a bunch of high society wannabes trying to act like they know shit. Motherfuckers be drinking $5 wine comparing it to a $100 bottle saying shit like,
This definitely has more of a floral and zesty taste to it.
like, what the f does that even mean? It tastes like wine. God damn, bro, just chill. Anyway, 4-2 does. Mary Jane still undefeated.